Xfinity.com for details. Visit Xfinity.com for details.
Stephen St. John here for my friends at Metcalf Car Star. If you fall victim to the winter elements and need auto collision repair, call the experts. Metcalf Car Star. Go to carstar.com and search Metcalf Car Star. Metcalf Car Star. Relax, they'll take it from here.
This is your 30-day warning.
Deep three, ring it up! It is good! As time expires, from ruin to redemption, the Virginia Cavaliers. Chalmers, 4-3, and the tie, he got it! He got it!
March Madness, the Final Four, and National Championship are all on America's largest all-sports radio station. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
A KC tradition since 1957, Hereford House is a locally owned steakhouse that has served generations of Kansas Cityans. Hereford House exclusively serves certified Hereford beef, which has been proven to be naturally more tender and flavorful than other brands. All their steaks are aged 21 days, hand-cut daily, and grilled over an open charcoal flame. This process provides a wonderful aroma and delicious flavor that cannot be duplicated by any other cooking method. Hereford House, Leawood, Independence, Shawnee, and Zona Rosa.
Every weekday on Sports Radio 810, tune in to hear Kansas City's favorite local lineup. At 6 a.m., wake up with the Border Patrol with Stephen St. John and Nate Bucati. At 10, it's The Zone with Jason Anderson. Now at 2, get into the program with Soren Petro. And wrap up your day on Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco. Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City.
Isn't this a sports show?
A couple of things. One from Brady on YouTube says, "Oh, so weird to look at you all after all this time listening on the pod." Yeah, there's a chance you've never seen us before, and this is what we look like. 3 of the 5 hottest dudes on Twitch.
Almost entirely.
Unzip for the camera, Rudy.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Now, Beards, you did say slash and not plus. Are you only playing video games in either a hoodie or pajama pants?
I'll leave that to the imagination.
I would rather you leave less to my imagination.
Take the show with you by listening on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app at 810WHB.com or by searching for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
I would like less imagination in this segment. I've got Beards now getting out of a bath and then Winnie the Poohing while he's playing video games on the couch. This sucks. This is a stupid, bad show, and I hate it.
This is Almost Entirely Sports on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Happy Friday. I hope you're enjoying playing video games in either your pajama pants or your hoodie. Not both. Never both. As you listen to this edition of Almost Entirely Sports. Wrapping up the week here tonight on Sports Radio 810. I'm Joshua Brisco with Rudy Salazar, Beards McFly, the whole gang together still. And Rudy has made it through another week of working both the morning and night shows. Beards has gotten through the challenge of wearing both a hoodie and normal pants at the station.
You're a hero, Beards.
I'm really proud of you. Lebo gave you a stern talking to after that incident last week, and you really, or earlier this week, and you really, you really accepted the challenge, and I'm proud of you. And
he's not here now.
No, but the Facebook camera is, so don't want to get taken down. We
just keep it up high.
The camera.
Yeah, the camera.
Nothing else.
Keep the hoodie down low. Real low.
We'll have Mick Shaffer to close out the week here in a couple hours. Matt Verderame of FanSided will join us in an hour. And Dwight Howard's on the Sixers?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
When did that happen?
This year?
How long has Dwight Howard been on the Sixers?
So you don't remember this?
Here we go.
You don't remember this?
No, I'm not doing this at the top of the show.
No, just really quickly, because this is funny.
No, I have no memory of this.
He had a tweet where he was like, Lakers fans, I'm coming back. And then he deleted it, and then he signed with the Sixers later that day.
I remember the tweet being deleted. I didn't remember that he ended up with the Sixers.
I think it was that same day.
Wow. No, I just learned that just now in real time.
If you get to yell Dwight Howard, I got to say that Michael Porter Jr. is 21 points at half.
Yeah, what's his plus minus?
I mean, probably pretty good because they're playing with Cleveland.
The Cleveland?
The Cleveland?
The Cleveland.
Basketball team. You have the Cleveland baseball team, the Washington football team, and also apparently the Cleveland basketball team. We're not going to talk about either NBA basketball or Cleveland sports
Jokic
in any
also
way.
good, and I'm done.
Fair enough. That's fine.
And the Nuggets have 69 points at half.
Okay.
It could be better.
Would have been cool if they would have broken 70.
You guys suck.
What do the Cavs have?
I think 52.
Nice.
I figured you'd go there.
What I think might be most interesting, we talked a lot about quarterbacks last night, and that's going to be, whenever we're all reaching for an NFL topic, that's going to be the easy one to go to this entire offseason.
Well, it's because we might literally have, but we still need to see it play out. But we might literally have an offseason that we've never seen before.
Yeah,
you don't see quarterbacks of this magnitude. And like we can make fun of Wentz or what Stafford is, or
and we will,
But like it's still a high profile quarterback
for sure. I mean, it's the sort of counter view to that is think about what we did last offseason in terms of football quarterback talk. It wasn't who's getting moved. It was, is Dak gonna get paid or not?
Yeah.
Right now we are really talking about starting quarterbacks switching teams in a way that we've never seen if it does play out in kind of the most chaotic way, where we've already seen it with Goff and Stafford. Deshaun Watson seems pretty likely. Carson Wentz, and in a way, Phillip Rivers, right? Jalen Hurts, I suppose you could also bring in terms of, different quarterbacks from week one last year to week one upcoming this year for all these different teams. All the rookies coming in, Sam Darnold?
It'll be interesting to see what Philly does, because like if I was them, I think I might be looking to use those extra capital that we just got and go make a move.
I actually wanted to talk about that some last night, and then we talked about Jaylen Brown for 2 hours.
It happens.
So
I also forgot that Frank Reich was Wentz's offensive coordinator in Philly, and obviously the Frank Reich's offensive coordinator is now the new Eagles head coach, and there's just kind of an Ouroboros going on there
true, yeah.
between the Colts and the Eagles.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh yeah, that's why this trade was always going to happen.
Yeah, and it's why it made some amount of sense I can see how it made sense to Frank Reich. Because he said, I got the best out of Wentz if I get that again, blah, blah, blah. We may circle back to him at some point.
3 years ago.
Right. But the more interesting thing, and this is way less concrete, but more interesting, I think, in some ways. At the very least, it's absolutely more applicable to the Kansas City Chiefs. There are a couple of places where I think it would make a lot of sense for Deshaun Watson to end up this offseason. He wants out of Houston, obviously. We've kind of tiptoed around why Carolina makes sense, what they may be willing to give up. You get Joe Brady and Deshaun Watson for 1 year before Joe Brady gets a head coaching job somewhere, but you get him and Matt Rule and kind of that attitude in that organization with Deshaun Watson. Makes a lot of sense, would be a lot of fun, wouldn't impact the Chiefs very often at all, obviously. You have the San Francisco 49ers. Get Watson and Shanahan together. That offense could be really, really smart. Makes a lot of sense. Wouldn't impact the Chiefs all that often. And then you have the team very, I was going to say near and dear to our hearts. That's not really true. Very near and dear to our standings, to our interests in the AFC West. And a team that's gotten a little bit of buzz just over this last week. And I saw two tweets that especially brought this to the top of my radar today. What if Deshaun Watson ends up with the Denver Broncos? It was sort of a rhetorical question, but answered in a very literal way that I think is actually just about right. It would not be the end of the Chiefs' reign in the AFC West the moment that trade is made, but it wouldn't be good for Kansas City. I think there's a lot of space kind of in that realm of somewhere between, oh man, the Chiefs aren't even favorites next year and this doesn't matter to me at all. And I know that talking predominantly right now to Kansas City Chiefs fans means that I need to kind of explain why it would matter more so than this can't touch us, we're perfect. Because, Super Bowl loss notwithstanding, we got a pretty confident fan base around these parts right now, justifiably so. And very few things really do matter in terms of bringing a team from a 4 to an 8, which I think is what the Broncos are at right now and would probably end up being with Deshaun Watson. And maybe it should be a 4 to a 7 or whatever. But, for Carson Wentz and the Colts, we're talking about the Colts going from a 6 to a 7 or a 7 to an 8 if things go well. Dragging a team out of the bottom of a division and making them an immediate contender is really difficult. It's why we're going to keep having these conversations around Deshaun Watson, because this type of option just isn't there for teams who failed to draft Deshaun Watson very often. The team that drafts the right quarterback keeps the right quarterback unless something crazy happens. Kirk Cousins was having money thrown at him because he made it all the way to free agency.
He liked that.
He did like that.
We talked about Dak all last offseason because he has the potential to hit the open market. By the way, we're not talking about Dak at all right now, which is kind of interesting. Obviously, he got hurt.
I was
and
just saying, I mean, he also, broke his ankle.
But
It was just a cramp, Beards.
But a lot of the conversations we were having last offseason should probably still be being had about Dak Prescott right now. It's a little more complicated, and he's a little more out of sight, out of mind.
Just need some water and maybe a banana.
But are you just doing a Jerry Jones impression, or
no? Because it was just a cramp.
I don't know what that's a reference to.
Tony Romo, after it happened, said, "I think he's just cramping."
Did he really?
Yeah,
that's too bad.
It was a broken ankle, but as he laid there with his ankle bone pointing in a weird direction, Tony Romo was like, "I think he's cramping."
In addition to the broken ankle?
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably
Tony,
true.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you break your ankle, you probably do cramp up at least a little bit.
Maybe Romo is saying, "I think he's cramping," along with his broken ankle.
Yeah, maybe.
Give him the benefit of the doubt.
I like Romo.
But we've had all those conversations about Dak last year, and we had all the conversations about Wentz yesterday, and it ended up being a conversation about Sam Darnold somehow. And all of those guys are a fraction of Deshaun Watson, and not a big fraction, not 9/10. The impact those guys have compared to Deshaun Watson is arguably negligible. It's a big difference. And there have been some things that have made it sound like Watson is interested in Denver, and some things that make it sound like he's not likely to actually end up there. I think obviously the Texans are not going to trade Watson in the division. It seems like it's probably unlikely they'll trade him within the conference. But if the Broncos have an extra first-round pick that the Niners aren't willing to give, they should probably take the extra pick.
Do you see the report that Deshaun Watson was now willing to maybe not go to the Jets because they might not be so good?
Yeah, no, there was a report from, I think Jeremy Fowler had it most recently, saying that Watson was intrigued by the Broncos and Niners, and then he probably wasn't willing to go to the Jets. But a lot of that is posturing. I mean, there's a lot of conjecture throughout all of this that I don't want to put too much weight into.
For sure, there is just a sense of if the thought that hey, maybe the Jets aren't the team that a player would
that makes sense.
The Broncos weren't a good team last year, but they have Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, right? There are things there that make them go, oh, that's enticing. Jets have nothing.
So the two things that came up today that I think is interesting, there's actually a third thing. I don't know if Beards knows about the audio
Probably not.
clip.
No.
There's an audio clip in my folder.
Oh, okay.
I can keep talking. I don't need it just yet.
That's fine. Go ahead.
But right now would be nice.
Yeah.
But the two things that came up today that I thought were really interesting, that again kind of brought this up the radar. Woody Page tweeted this, quoting John McClain of the Houston Chronicle. He said, quote, "I'll guarantee you the Denver Broncos will not get Deshaun Watson from the Texans." That's Woody Page quoting John McClain of the Houston Chronicle. John McClain knows what's going on in the Texans organization.
Mm-hmm.
I am willing to take that and assume that he knows what he's talking about. Also, lots of things change, and I don't know what the logic behind that would be, but that's just sort of like Exhibit A. But then Eric Eager of Pro Football Focus, and frequently on the program here on Sports Radio 810, he tweeted this about just the idea, independent of if it's going to happen or not, but what if Deshaun Watson did end up in Denver? He tweeted, the prospect of Watson going to Denver, along with the switch from 2 byes in each conference to 1, meaning first-round byes in the playoffs, would not be a great development for Kansas City. KC is still the favorite in the AFC West with Watson, Herbert, Carr in the mix, but it's just muddier getting the 1 seed every year. And that's the one thing that I think might be the most important, immediate changing factor if that move was to happen. Now, look, it immediately it also makes the Broncos more likely to contend in the division by a factor of a bajillion. Their chances of actually winning the AFC West with Drew Lock are probably near 0, and their chances of winning with Deshaun Watson are far away from 0. They're not outpacing the Chiefs. The Chiefs have the better roster and the better quarterback and the better coach than even the Deshaun Watson Broncos, and you're talking about them having to still give up some assets to get him if that were to happen. The Chiefs have a lot of advantages, but not by nearly the margin that they do whenever the other team is trotting out Drew Lock. You also have the Chargers in the mix, who have drafted their quarterback, did not need to give up $1 billion assets to get him, are not paying him a giant veteran contract right now. That team's arrow is very firmly pointed in the right direction, even though we don't even know about their head coach right now. There's a lot we don't know about that team and the direction that they seem to be headed in a very literal sense of just what's being built there. But they got the right quarterback. Mm-hmm. They have the guy that is at the very least worth spending the next 2 years to evaluate and to let him fly, because you're pretty sure that the result there is going to be pretty good.
And weapons for him, which is always important.
Then you also have Vegas, which is, let's say that Watson ends up in Denver. I think that the Raiders end up being the least interesting team out of that group in the AFC West. They've beaten the Chiefs recently, you may remember. John Gruden seems to have a little something for Andy Reid, a little something for Spags on a regular basis. That's a team that makes sense as a pushover and then doesn't end up performing like one. They got ups and downs. Derek Carr is not any of those other dudes that we've talked about here today. They don't have all the weapons to keep up. They don't have all the defensive talent you would need to keep up with these teams, but they're no slouch. If the Raiders are essentially the worst team in your division, or they're the team that you think has the least potential, that is a damn good division. And so even if that doesn't strike fear in your heart in terms of winning the AFC West, it should register to you that the more the teams you play twice every single year improve, the more difficult it's going to be for you to sweep the division in a way that Andy Reid is so used to doing. Where you just go, well, yeah, AFC West games, I'm just going to assume the Chiefs are going to go 6-0 in the division, because that's essentially what Andy Reid does. Even when the games are a little tougher, sometimes you end up having the upset like we did against the Raiders earlier in the 2020 season. But if you're now dropping half of those games, because Deshaun Watson can get you once. Justin Herbert might be able to get you once. The Raiders just got you once, and I'm still not totally sure what happened there. You're now talking about going from 0 losses in the division, maybe to 1, maybe to 2 or 3. Well, now, whatever's happening in, let's say the AFC East. What if the Patriots don't get more interesting? What if, if they don't bounce back, the Jets aren't going to be good for a little bit still at the very least. And let's say the Dolphins don't ever take a step forward because they stick with Tua and he never develops. Well, now maybe you've got the Bills going 5-1 in their division, and the Chiefs are taking 2 or 3 losses against teams with great quarterbacks, because that is the way that you beat a team with a great quarterback. You get a great quarterback, and you build around him. It just makes things tougher. You'd rather be in the AFC East in the Bills' shoes than in this fictional AFC West we're stitching together now. As things stand currently, it's all relatively even. You can look at the AFC North, where the Steelers are probably on the downturn and they're either going to lose their quarterback soon or have already kind of lost their quarterback or going to have to find their new one. But if you're the Ravens right now, the Browns and the Bengals at least figure to be also kind of giving you a fight. And maybe it won't ultimately matter. Maybe the Chiefs will be fine in the division forever, and again, they'll be the favorite in the division as long as Patrick Mahomes is playing football. I mean, they're going to have a Patriots-esque like run in the AFC West until Patrick Mahomes goes and wins his 7th ring in let's not say Tampa. Let's say Arizona. We're going to put him on the other side of the country. He goes to San Francisco, whatever. That would be kind of fun, because it would be the inverse of all the Niners-Chiefs things. Fun is the wrong word, probably. It would still probably be miserable, but it would be kind of like ironic. Anyway. It's something that if you're a Chiefs fan, the entertainment value of the AFC West goes up with Deshaun Watson as the quarterback of the Broncos, but everything gets a little more difficult, and you should pretty much just be rooting against that happening.
Also, Broncos fans become even more miserable than they already are.
Also true. Also fair. More confident. They would actually have a quarterback instead of lying to themselves about having a quarterback, which wouldn't be fun. I don't know what John McClain knows, why he thinks that it's definitely not going to happen. Again, you should essentially be rooting just against it. Mm-hmm. Wherever Deshaun Watson goes, him going to the NFC would be great. Eventually it gets to the point where the AFC becomes I would say probably an annual, maybe a serious 3-team race. Because nobody in the South seems like they're really going anywhere. Nobody in the AFC East outside of the Bills. The North is going to have to run through Baltimore until it doesn't anymore.
I think actually Cleveland might run it a lot. Two running backs.
I was like, oh, does Rudy have a hot, spicy Browns or the class of the division takes? And then it was a joke about running the ball.
It was, but also I like Lamar Jackson. I do wonder if he has hit his ceiling as a passer. Mm-hmm. And in all seriousness, like I look at the North at the very least as I could see that going back and forth between Cleveland and Baltimore. Like
sure.
if you told me the next 10 years it was 5-5, I'd be like, you know what? Wouldn't be surprised. I think Pittsburgh's about to go through a rough stretch.
That I think is probably true.
Because unless they seem to think Mason Rudolph's the guy.
Good luck.
And goodness, he's not the guy.
So, just question real quick.
Sure, yeah, go ahead and ask it.
Do the Steelers
go ahead,
have it?
Toss it up in the air. Let's hit it out of the park, baby.
Do the Steelers have enough to get Deshaun Watson?
I don't know.
Probably not.
I haven't heard anything about it. I think it's
traded picks to Miami for Finka Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Finka Fitzpatrick. Yeah.
Finka Fitzpatrick. Yeah. For Minka Fitzpatrick. I don't know their exact draft capital, but I don't think Pittsburgh has. I mean, I'm sure they've got enough to make an offer, right? But I think there are a handful of teams that could just easily make better offers out there.
I just don't want to have the Nom-style flashbacks of those Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell games in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that.
No.
It would be better than him going to Denver, though, is the truth of it, honestly.
There is a thing, too, where, and I know this, I don't know if it should matter, but it just doesn't.
This would also all apply to the Raiders, by the way.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like a move Pittsburgh makes, right?
Literally everybody should, so I don't know.
For sure, but Pittsburgh and some of this it may just simply be the fact that they've never had a chance to trade for a Deshaun Watson type, and so none of it matters. They're just not the team that typically goes out. And part of this also may be because they've had Big Ben for majority of my life, right?
Yeah.
They just don't. I just never get the feeling that they're going to necessarily go make that splashy move for the quarterback. But hey, they may be like, this is different, right, which is what they should do. But
they've just had their guy for 1,000 years, so. It also doesn't feel like something that the Patriots would do.
Yeah.
But it's because the Patriots have had their guy for our entire lives. Yeah.
I think that's probably why it doesn't feel like their type of move.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. Again, and they're Z-Man on Twitch, the Texans this year are a better team than what Denver would have been with Watson. I don't agree with that. I think they're comparable, but I think you have more you have more actual weapons. And I'm a little more bullish on the I guess I'm a little more bearish on the Broncos weapons than most, but I think that having Jerry Jeudy having Cortland Sutton is worth something.
He's talking about the Texans this upcoming year.
I think he meant last year.
Okay, because I was going to say, if he's talking about last year, they at the very least do have Will Fuller, who is a weapon, but he's the only weapon.
How many games did he play last year?
Well, that's the other thing, right? Will Fuller. Will Fuller might have actually been his, I feel like this last year might have actually been the year he played his most games. Or wait, did he get a PED suspension? He might have got a PED suspension this last year.
11 games.
I think he got suspended. I think this was the year where he didn't get hurt, but he got suspended 4 games for PEDs.
Let's find out.
I could be wrong. He was suspended 6 games.
He was suspended in December.
Yep. This was the year that he didn't get hurt, but got suspended 6 games for violating NFL's PED policy, which is a great, just...
Did it get... I guess they're counting that. Well, no.
5 games 11. This year, 1 game next year. So I think it was the last.
That's right. It was partway. It was in December of 2020. So
this was,
that's right.
This was the year that he actually managed to stay healthy, and then he gets suspended.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But even if you look at the Texans last year with Will Fuller, who is a very talented wide receiver, Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy are outstanding. And KJ Hamler is if KJ Hamler is your 3rd receiver, that's a nice weapon.
And Denver's defense is obviously going to have a bit of an overhaul of its own as Von Miller's on his way out.
But Bradley Chubb looks like he can step in.
You've got some legitimate pieces in there. And
Justin Simmons is a great safety.
The specifics of look at this team with a great quarterback. And now imagine that quarterback going over here. I think oftentimes we don't take enough of that power with the quarterback. I think you would have seen in a Deshaun Watson-less 2020 Houston Texans, I think you would have seen that team just absolutely disintegrate even more than it did. Yeah. And it already disintegrated. Aren't the Texans picking above the Broncos in the draft?
The Texans are not picking. Well,
or their spot. No, their spot would have been...
Their spot is 3. But they traded that pick to Miami for
Tunsil. Laramie Tunsil.
Yes. Laramie Tunsil.
So I mean, I don't really know if that necessarily holds water. Honestly, I think maybe we're a little bit too used to dunking on the Broncos for all of the reasons that you should dunk on them. But part of the reason that the Broncos are kind of a bit of a punchline is because they, being Broncos fans, typically are out here making the argument, just like Raiders fans are making the argument for Derek Carr, that Drew Lock is actually going to be that guy. And he's not. We've seen enough to know that at this point. I feel really confident.
I think they've seen enough to know that at this point, too.
You should go dive a little deeper into Twitter sometimes, or go back into the Reddit on Reddit is too pessimistic, I think. You need to go to Broncos Facebook at some point, Beards. Go to Broncos Facebook say something bad about Drew Lock. Dolphins Twitter is insane. Every once in a while, Alan Pupar, who's on the show with us earlier this year, or late last year, whatever, I see him retweet stuff from Dolphins fans all the time, where they're talking about how they shouldn't go get Deshaun Watson because they've got Tua, and it is delusional. It's delusional.
Yeah.
But whenever fan bases are sold that their quarterback is going to be the Messiah, you're going to try to convince yourself that that's actually true for an incredibly long time, because as soon as you have to admit that it's not true, it makes your jersey purchase seem stupid. It makes all the faith you had in the organization feel flimsy. Yep. That kind of stuff happens all throughout, all sorts of conspiracy theories and all sorts of like that. Well, it's why whenever there's a doomsday date that's in a calendar or in a cult or whatever, and that's not doomsday. Doomsday doesn't ever get called off. It just gets pushed back. It's like, well, give Tua more weapons. It's actually going to be December 21st, 2014. Give Tua an offensive line in front of him. You know what? It's not Drew Lock's fault that he stinks. You're always gonna end up kind of moving the goalposts in a way to keep yourself believing that maybe you weren't wrong whenever you drafted him, however many years ago. That's sort of the psychosis of thinking that you've got the quarterback, and wanting to desperately. Think about how many times we've talked ourselves into. We talked ourselves into Matt Castle.
Yeah, we did.
We talked ourselves into Matt Castle.
Yeah. Hey, Josh, you know what else? I don't want to say we, because I guess I don't want to necessarily just throw other people involved in this.
Yeah.
But I talked myself into Brady Quinn. I 100% had kind of talked myself into Brady Quinn.
Also, the Broncos went 5-11 with Drew Lock.
Yeah.
I think we have to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
They're at least on par.
Here's the thing, and I'm seeing people like Z-Man and them putting out, obviously, yes, the Broncos would have to give up draft capital, maybe a player is involved or whatever.
And they got to pay him the quarterback deal, sure.
At the end of the day, that is still an offense that's going to have Deshaun Watson, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, KJ Hamler, Phillip Lindsay. They've got their tackle, Garrett Bowles, so they signed him to a long-term deal. They've got Dalton Reisner at guard. Like, that's, again, the defense is trending in the wrong direction, absolutely, for sure. That's a scary offense.
But and also, though, again, the thing that I would just urge everyone to remember is think about what the Texans' offense looked like without an offensive line in front of him, but he had DeAndre Hopkins. Or with a little better offensive line without DeAndre Hopkins. Or with an offensive line collapsing again and no DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah. Having the quarterback, listen, you can say, well, yeah, it would cost him draft picks, it would cost him salary cap space, and that's true. It's not the perfect thing to do is to draft that guy and to have him on the rookie contract. But if you're not going to be able to do that, and if you haven't done that, but your next best option is to lock that guy up with your franchise for the next decade, that's literally the next best thing that you could possibly do. Mm-hmm. We are not really having a serious conversation about Patrick Mahomes' salary cap hit. You know, like it's going to be a part of the conversation, but no one is second guessing.
It's always worth it.
It's never a drawback.
Well,
it's just an element of the deal you have to take on.
Some people are. Because there's just always going to be those couple people, right? Like,
Sure.
There's never going to be the 100%. Like, I've had enough people call into the station when I'm running the board and talk about it. And by enough, I just mean like maybe once a week or something. Like after it was signed. So it happens, but like 99% of people, like you don't care
not worried about that,
because Patrick. At the end of the day, like that's he's Patrick Mahomes.
You're either going to pay your elite. The problem is if you pay a non-elite quarterback.
Yeah, it's
paying
when you pay
an elite
Jared
quarterback
Goff.
Is not that right. It's paying Jared Goff or Jimmy Garoppolo or Carson Wentz or whoever. At this point, Ben Roethlisberger.
Maybe Lamar Jackson. Like we'll see with him and what he's able to do going forward.
But paying Deshaun Watson is not going to be the reason your franchise isn't good. It's going to be for all the things surrounding it, which the Texans have really dove face first into. Let's take a break. Whenever we come back, we may take a few questions on the topic that have popped up on our Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live videos. Or maybe we'll just talk about it amongst ourselves, or maybe I'll get distracted by finding out that some other former NBA stars on the 76ers.
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page.
Hey, it's Todd Lebo here for CertaPro Painters. They've done great work at my house. Inside, outside, it's always great. From the estimate to the prep work to the cleanup, worry-free all the way. Give them a call for a free estimate, 1-800-GO-CERTA. That's 1-800-GO-CERTA, or go to CertaPro.com for more information. Now is a great time to update your home. There's no reason to wait. Call 1-800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com today to experience the CertaPro Painters difference for yourself. It's CertaPro Painters, proven and trusted experts in painting.
February marks the final month of the Mercedes-Benz Certified Pre-Owned event at Aristocrat Motors. It's your opportunity to select your certified pre-owned Mercedes from our large selection and enjoy unlimited confidence with the unlimited mileage warranty combined with 2 payments on most models when financed with Mercedes-Benz Financial. Pick out yours today at Aristocrat Motors, I-35 and Shawnee Mission Parkway, or online at aristocratmotors.com. Offer ends February 28, 2021. MBFS offered with approved credit.
Was Valentine's Day a letdown? It's not too late to call the Kansas City Men's Clinic. We've extended our $49 Valentine's Day special through February. Don't let erectile dysfunction stop you from being the man you know you can be. Take action now and call the Kansas City Men's Clinic and receive a private consultation for only $49. Call 816-608-8189. That's 816-608-8189. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Rock your home with new tops from Kansas City's best countertop fabricator, Rock Tops. They custom fabricate and install stone surfaces that will make you fall in love with your home. Making homes look incredible is Rock Tops' thing. Being nice just comes naturally. Rock Tops offers carry-out samples and virtual or in-home appointments. Call 913-782-0802 or go to rocktopskc.com. Mention 810 Rocks to receive 10% off right now.
Hi, Chris Shakes from Victory Chevrolet of Smithfield. It's hard to believe that in 6 short years, our Victory family of dealerships has become the fastest growing auto group in the Kansas City area. A huge thank you to our awesome and loyal customers. Our mission at Victory has always been the same, providing the most transparent and fun customer experience anywhere. Looking for a fantastic truck deal? Check out our January Silverado sale. We're taking up to $12,000 off a new half-ton Silverado crew cab. Visit us today at VictoryChevyKC.com. Chevrolet, find new roads. And remember, at Victory, we sell them all.
This Saturday on the NBA on ESPN Radio.
Floats it to the rim. Autopilot skies, grabs, and flushes.
The Miami Heat head into their 6th game of a 7-game West Coast road trip when they face LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers.
And spins down the lane, lays it up and in.
The race is here, the time is now. Top of the world and I can't come down.
Tune in to hear the Lakers and Heat Saturday at 7 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Watching good teams lose with their poor quarterback play is kind of sad, except for whenever it's the Broncos, and then it's hilarious.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I love our Twitch commenters very much. I'm making that clear on the front end. Also, our emotes have still not been cleared, and I'm sorry. I don't know what to do about it. I've written several very angry letters to Twitch HQ, by which I've written them on some notepad paper, put it in an envelope, just wrote Twitch on it, and then put it in a mailbox without a stamp or anything.
It'll come.
It'll get there eventually.
Yeah, just gotta be patient.
Maybe by next week we'll have the custom emotes. But I gotta say, I just think that to get to the point where you're trying to talk yourself out of Deshaun Watson being a good thing for Denver, even I again, not that the money and the picks are not a part of the conversation. They are. I just think that the math is still very, very, very lopsided in favor of, oh yeah, that would be a positive thing. In fact, Beards, can you pull up the audio that Rudy had grabbed earlier? Damian Woody talked a little bit. I've got a fun Chiefs topic that we'll circle back to in a second. But Damian Woody talked a little bit about specifically why Watson would fit in Denver, and I'm not done talking about Deshaun Watson yet.
I really like the Denver Broncos because, you know, we've been talking ad nauseum about the Denver Broncos and their inability to solve the quarterback position. But if you look at this team, look at the pieces that will be around Deshaun Watson. Denver has a good defense. And Mark Schlereth talked about the pieces on offense, particularly at the skill position. They got a couple good running backs. They got Noah Fant, the tight end, who's pretty good. And they got 3 young wide receivers who have the potential to be dynamic in the National Football League. So if you add a Deshaun Watson to that mix, who, in my opinion, just behind Patrick Mahomes.
Well, that's a weird cut by ESPN.
It is a weird. Yeah. Sometimes their audio clips, they end up cutting mid at a comma.
Yeah, they cut at very weird spots sometimes.
But the point of it there, and again, the thing that I would circle back on before we move on to the next thing, is that you're right that it's not the Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes and they won the lottery, or they're right now, at least through his rookie deal, they were living in a mansion with virtually no mortgage to pay.
It was $200 a month. It was if I could talk, $200 a month, utilities included.
That's right.
And you were just like, how did I find this deal?
Google Fiber's just there already, and it's got 19 bedrooms. Like, this really feels like I'm in a pyramid scheme of some sort.
Definitely in a cult, for sure. But you're fine with it.
If you are the team trying to trade for Deshaun Watson, you're gonna have to pay a whole lot closer to fair market value for this giant mansion that you'd like to move into. But it's still going to be less than market value because there are laws in place that are going to keep you from paying actual value for a guy like Deshaun Watson. I'm losing the analogy. And it's worth it. Like, that is going to be the element of your team that you simply, you can decorate your smaller house, you can get all the fun stuff you want to have in the house, but at the end of the day, you're still trying to decorate the inside of a cardboard box named Drew Lock. You can move into this mansion. It's going to cost you a little bit. You're going to have to sell off some of your amenities and then build it back later. But that's still going to be worth it. And you could put, honestly, I don't even think you'd have to put him on Truth Serum. You would just get Brett Veach on a microphone somewhere and say, hey, let's say after the trade happens to the Niners. Let's say Deshaun Watson ends up in the NFC somewhere. If you ask Brett Veach, hey, are you glad that the Broncos didn't end up trading whatever the Niners gave up to get Deshaun Watson? I promise you, he would say yes. He would either say yes or he would tiptoe around it. But there's no chance that he would say, yeah, honestly, I wish they would have given up everything for him because it would have been so pricey. No, it's something you don't want in your division, especially when you're doing the math of 1 first-round bye, already dealing with Justin Herbert, all sorts of good stuff. It would be really interesting. And the AFC West divisional matchups, there would be one on primetime television every 2 weeks. Like you would have Watson, Herbert, Mahomes, Watson, Mahomes, Herbert. I think there's one in there that I didn't include. Maybe I did. I literally drew a triangle with the back of my pen, so maybe I did get all those matchups. I'm not sure. And then also Derek Carr is there. It'd be fun, but it'd be better for the Chiefs if that didn't end up happening. Here's the other NFL thing that happened today that I'm just gonna run it out there. I will preface this by saying this is a bit of a shrug for me. You could find me an argument either way. But the Eagles released Deshaun Jackson today. Freed up some cap space. He was making way more money than he was producing for. He's had a really hard time staying on the field really since 2013. 2016, if you want to be especially fair, his third year in Washington. Remember that he spent 2 years in Tampa? Because I forgot about that until I saw it today. Oh, yeah. He wore the alarm clock numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he went back to the Eagles these last couple of years, and he played 8 games over the course of 2 seasons in Philly. Obviously, that is sort of line item number 1. You don't want to pay a receiver that can't get on the field. But a couple reports are saying that he wants to continue his career. It'll be his age 35 season. He is not young, but also this dude has averaged more than 15 yards per reception since his rookie year when he averaged 14.7. And here's the specific thing. If Andy Reid is intrigued by the idea of bringing Deshaun Jackson back, and maybe he doesn't have the speed anymore, maybe he's older than he would need for him, than he would like for him to be, maybe Andy Reid goes, nah, not really interested. That's fine. But if Deshaun Jackson wants to go ring hunting, if he's going to acknowledge that he's in a pretty hefty wide receiver market right now, and if the Chiefs see a spot for him in this offense, it would not ruin my day if the Chiefs brought Deshaun Jackson in. Now, again, the price matters absolutely. I'm not saying it absolutely matters. I am saying the price is an absolute defining factor in if this deal would make sense or not. And the expectation would matter in a huge way. What the Chiefs actually think he could do, if they think he could do it. Is he healthy? Does Andy Reid have a role in mind for him? What is the cost? But without knowing all those specifics, and if I'm saying he does have a role, he does want him back, it wouldn't be too expensive, then I'm intrigued. Now, you have to acknowledge that he's not going to play 16 games. The Chiefs have paid Sammy Watkins with that, kind of in mind for the last few years already. But if you are going to say maybe he's cheaper than bringing Watkins back, or he's cheaper than A.J. Green or something, one of those kind of older guys that might want to try to grab a ring with Patrick Mahomes. The one thing that Deshaun Jackson has over those other guys is theoretically, let's say he's cheaper. The other thing is he's not coming in blind to Andy Reid's offense. Now, he hasn't played with Andy Reid, obviously, since 2012. It's been a minute. But one thing that I think we might be taking a little bit for granted at this point is the idea that the Chiefs draft a receiver in the first or second round, and then that dude is out there day one he's running Sammy Watkins' route tree, and he's out there being just a healthy version of Sammy Watkins on a rookie deal. That sounds great. But with the exception of Deshaun Jackson and Jeremy Maclin, really, Andy Reid hasn't had a lot of those guys come in and produce on that level right out of the gate. You can be optimistic about rookie Deshaun Jackson, rookie Jeremy Maclin in a version of this offense that's a decade old now, or really more. Think more about what McCole Hardman looked like in his rookie year, or the fact that we just finished year 2 with McCole Hardman. And I think if you're optimistic about him, it comes with him continuing to develop and get even more comfortable in the offense and all that stuff. If you think that Deshaun Jackson could set a floor and could win enough of those one-on-one matchups and just be another option out there, I think it's got to be really, at least worth that conversation.
For sure.
I'm not banging the table, but I think it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and I
Also, on the rookie receiver point, because I want to make this extremely clear, because the first tweet I got back in response to this was, but they need to draft a receiver. Whatever you do with Deshaun Jackson, has absolutely nothing to do with what you do in the draft. Deshaun Jackson is in Kansas City in this situation for the 2021 season, and he might play 8 games in that season. That might be lucky. They should still draft somebody. I am talking specifically about the impact in the 2021 season.
Yeah, when I look at Deshaun Jackson, and again, this obviously comes down to it 100% comes down to the money. At the end of the day, that's ultimately what matters. But I look at him essentially as like a more dynamic, as D-Rob's replacement more than anything, right? Like I'm not looking, I'm not wanting the Chiefs to bring in Deshaun Jackson as their number 2 wide receiver.
Right.
I'm wanting them to bring in Deshaun Jackson really as their number 3/4, kind of depending on where McCole Hardman or a rookie wide receiver, would ultimately, however those guys perform, right?
Yeah.
Like a guy who can come in and has maybe it might just be one play every like 3 games, but it's just that one play is 60, 70 yards down the field. But again, yeah, at the end of the day, it is a move that is 100. Like money always matters, but like with Sammy Watkins, the Chiefs were clearly fine with overpaying a little bit because they just of everything else he did, right? Like there was the value that made that they were fine. With Deshaun Jackson, it is just 100% comes down to like, are you willing to take essentially a veteran minimum deal at the very least? Very close to it. Now it can be maybe incentive laden or whatnot, but like what the Chiefs have shown they are good with doing. But it has to be obviously, it just has to be a cheap deal. But it'd be fun.
It would be fun. That's the other thing. It would be fun that I think we all need to consider that it would be fun. If I was going to play devil's advocate to the idea that he could come in and be the Demarcus Robinson replacement. The argument I would make
the styles
is that,
are obviously very different.
No,
but,
I'm leaving that alone. Actually, the argument that I think maybe is made there is that guy should be 20 years old. That is coming in to be the Demarcus Robinson role. That then he eventually evolves beyond that. But again, speaking specifically within the scope of 2021, there's enough roster spots for a rookie that can play special teams and then develop.
Yeah, and this may come down to where they draft a guy, and this also maybe I'm giving a rookie wide receiver too much credit to what he could come in and do.
Right.
Part of this, I'm assuming the Chiefs draft a receiver within the first 2 rounds. My guess is a rookie wide receiver drafted early probably outperforms the 35-year-old Deshaun Jackson. But also, as you've pointed out, rookie wide receivers have not done a ton in this offense. Deshaun Jackson does know the offense. So maybe the reality is...
And the offense is very different from 2013.
For sure.
It's a decade-old offense.
Absolutely. But he is a guy who's been in the league. He knows how... Like he's not coming in blind.
Right.
He has a basic foundation. He would have a basic foundation of the offense. So I'm just kind of assuming, I guess, and this might be trusting Brett Veach. Maybe this is... And I could just flat out be wrong. I feel like whoever they would draft, or maybe it's not even draft, maybe it's another free agent signing, would come in and probably solidify themselves as a number 2, which is also kind of a knock on what I think McCole Hardman's probably going to be.
Yeah, I guess.
Because I'm not totally sold that he's going to really become a number 2. I think McCole Hardman's going to be a good NFL wide receiver for a long time. I just think you're going to look at him and be like, this is who we want as our number 3 wide receiver, and not as our number 2.
We just talk ourselves into receivers so easy. I mean,
hey, trust me, nobody talks themselves into a receiver more than I do.
Where's Jehu Chesson?
Receivers are my it's always been my favorite position. Like obviously, quarterback's most important. It's everybody's favorite, but like receiver's always been my favorite position. It's the position I always watched the most. It's the position I always felt like I understood the most. Nobody talks himself into a wide receiver like I do, man. Jonathan Baldwin's still the GOAT to me.
They drafted basically the wide receiver in the first round last year. I don't even know why we're having this conversation. They have too many pass catchers at this point.
Almost drafted what could have drafted what was basically a tight end, DK Metcalf, but maybe Chase Claypool. I will say for every receiver I've loved that, I wish they drafted like a Chase Claypool. There was a receiver like a DK Metcalf who I wanted nothing to do with, who I was just wrong. Just flat out wrong.
Who could they have taken instead of trading up for Breeland Speaks? Let's see.
Oh, I don't want that game's going to hurt.
I lost Breeland Speaks. We'll take a break in a second, Pierce. Don't worry about it. I got to see who. Oh, Christian Kirk went one pick after. He's not DK Metcalf, but he went one pick after.
He would have been a heck of a lot better than Breeland Speaks.
Dallas Goedert went 3 picks after Breeland Speaks.
Okay, I've found Braylon Speaks now. Anthony, I weirdly love Anthony Miller, but like at this point, I'm just like, I know Anthony Miller. I keep thinking Anthony Miller's gonna like break out, and at some point, you just gotta recognize he's not. DJ Shark went in the second round that year after.
DJ Shark, DJ Shark, DJ Shark, DJ Shark. They took Breland Speaks. I hate this. They took Breland Speaks. I hate this. They
Mark
took
Andrews
Breland Speaks.
was
I hate
after
this.
Breland Speaks.
Could have had Christian Kirk and DK Metcalf. Doot.
Orlando Brown.
Doot.
That's basically it.
Doot.
At JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Brian Pringle with Victory Ford at the Legends in KCK. Victory Ford is dedicated to one thing, serving you. Our staff are experts in providing you the knowledge needed to make the right decision on your next car or truck. Fantastic customer service doesn't end when the sale does. Our dealership also staffs a 5-star service center with the highest rated technicians and amenities. Visit us at the Legends Auto Plaza on the southeast corner of 435 and Parallel, or online at victoryfordkc.com. Victory Ford, where our first price is better than their last. It's Family Leisure's Factory Direct Hot Tub Sale. We have hot tubs coming in every week. No need to wait for months. Come get your dream hot tub today. Family Leisure also has pools in stock for spring installation. Don't go another summer without a pool for your family. Come in and see our huge selection of patio furniture. Family Leisure is your one-stop shop for pool tables, shuffleboard, bar stools, and home theater seating. All priced to go. Mention 810 and save more at Family Leisure in Olathe.
913-888-7727. Awesome!
Times are certainly uncertain. In fact, the return of food shortages is likely. Don't take chances. Make the decision to acquire a dependable supply of long-lasting emergency food. Food that lasts for up to 25 years in storage, ready the moment you need it. There's an old saying, failing to plan means planning to fail. Don't wait for the next crisis. Have a 3-month, 6-month, or even 1-year supply of food on hand. It's easy and affordable. We're My Patriot Supply, America's leader in emergency preparedness. We've served millions of folks like you for over a decade, and our mission is your survival. Our meals are delicious and provide you with 2,000 calories a day, and our kits arrive quickly and discreetly at your doorstep. Visit MyPatriotSupply.com and feast your eyes on the food that could save your life someday. That's MyPatriotSupply.com. Take the pressure off yourself. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and face the future without regrets.
Add a stylish look to your bathroom and save big money during Menards Race to Savings Sale. Max has more than 1,000 bathtubs, shower kits, and shower doors to add luxury to your life. U-Tile showers give you the realistic look and feel of tile and installs in half the time. Right now, the Halo shower is $1,879.99. Save big money now during Menards Race to Savings Sale. Prices are good through February 20th.
Save big money at Menards.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sure, we can help you knock that oil change right off your list. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge full synthetic motor oil and an STP extended life oil filter for just $29.99, plus a $10 bonus reward if you're an AutoZone Rewards member. Not a member? We can sign you up fast, right here in store or on AutoZone.com. Getting the job done just got easier. Terms at AutoZone.com/rewards. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports.
The Raiders have lost 4 games in a row. That's crazy.
Are they for real?
I think, you know what? I think the Raiders might not be for real.
With Joshua Brisco.
Is Joe Flacco elite?
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Rudy and I spent the commercial break going through the 2020 NFL draft because I may have said something, hard to say what it would have been, about how I feel like the Chiefs could have, I know this is something I haven't really said publicly very much, could have probably gotten a more valuable position with their first-round pick in last year's draft. Like T. Higgins, Michael Pittman went right after.
You know who I really wish they would have drafted? I really love this kid when he was coming out of college, Jeremy Chin. It's like he was kind of the knockoff, I forget the guy's name already, knockoff Isaiah Simmons.
He went right after Willie Gay, actually.
He did, yeah, and he's been great.
Just they
He had a
could
really
have
good
drafted
rookie
an
year.
edge. They could have drafted a tight end. They could have drafted a defensive back. And you point out Antoine Winfield Jr. went a few picks later. Could have
Yeah.
been doing peace signs with Tyreek Hill instead of at Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
I know this is controversial, but that was not my favorite draft pick of all time.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
It's Family Leisure's Factory Direct Hot Tub Sale. We have hot tubs coming in every week. No need to wait for months. Come get your dream hot tub today. Family Leisure also has pools in stock for spring installation. Don't go another summer without a pool for your family. Come in and see our huge selection of patio furniture. Family Leisure is your one-stop shop for pool tables, shuffleboard, bar stools, and home theater seating. All priced to go. Mention 810 and save more at Family Leisure in Olathe.
913-888-7727. Awesome.
Hey, it's Lebo here for CertaPro Painters. You know, now is a great time to update your home. Whether it's a new look inside or some exterior protection for this harsh KC climate, there's no better place to go than CertaPro. You can give them a call at 1-800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com to schedule your free estimate. Now, they have knocked it out of the park every time I've used them. Inside my home or outside where my paint job still looks great. Their attention to detail is outstanding from the estimate through the prep work, the job itself, and especially on cleanup. Worry-free all the way. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so they're local business owners right here in our community. They do it all. Premier quality products with competitive pricing plus a great warranty. So what are you waiting for? Give them a call right now at 1-800-GO-CERTA. That's 1-800-GO-CERTA. Experience the CertaPro Painters difference for yourself. They don't consider the job finished until you're completely satisfied. It's CertaPro Painters, proven and trusted experts in painting.
The home of the Jayhawks. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Brown, will he get it off? Yes. Will he hit it? Yeah! Wow! David tips it to himself, muscles it right back up and in.
The official radio home for Kansas Athletics in Kansas City. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Ochai for the tie. Yes! Ochai Agbaji from straight on.
Saturday, the Jayhawks face Texas Tech. Tip-off at 1 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
A KC tradition since 1957, Hereford House is a locally owned steakhouse that has served generations of Kansas Cityans. Hereford House exclusively serves certified Hereford beef, which has been proven to be naturally more tender and flavorful than other brands. All their steaks are aged 21 days, hand-cut daily, and grilled over an open charcoal flame. This process provides a wonderful aroma and delicious flavor that cannot be duplicated by any other cooking method. Hereford House, Leawood, Independence, Shawnee, and Zona Rosa.
Hi, Olympic gold medalist Misty May Trainer here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, reminding you to get moving every day.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
Kansas City's favorite sports station. 20 years and counting. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Jim Baskell. It's the first of an ESPN NBA doubleheader. The Sixers, again without Ben Simmons, do have Joel Embiid. 25 points for the big fella in the opening half. Third quarter is underway with Philadelphia up 5 at 58-53. The nightcap has the Clippers with both Kawhi Leonard and Paul George back in the lineup, home to the team with the best record in the NBA, that being the Utah Jazz at 24-5. Calling his 5 years with the team an amazing journey, quarterback Carson Wentz bid farewell to the Eagles, his former teammates in the city of Philadelphia on Friday. His Instagram post came one day after he was traded to the Colts for a pair of picks. So Wentz and Matthew Stafford have been dealt. Is Deshaun Watson perhaps next? The Texans say no. Might they change for the right offer? Mike Golick Jr. has a package from the Carolina Panthers.
Christian McCaffrey in 3 ones was what David Newton threw out there for this potentially. And I said, if you've got to give up Christian McCaffrey in this, and if you can give him up at the expense of maybe hold a couple of your key young defensive starters for a team that was bad, awful on defense last year, and needs to get better in a hurry if you're going to be a place that can grow around someone like Deshaun Watson, Christian might be worth it just because running back is a position we've seen, as great as he is, as much as I want to see everybody get paid. We just know that you can replace that production a lot easier. So his name shouldn't be excluded from that. I don't think it will be excluded from that, Janae, price tag aside.
Panthers releasing 4 players, clearing nearly $20 million in cap space today. Dr. Anthony Fauci, meantime, cautiously optimistic. The prospect of fans returning to the stands for the 2021 MLB season this coming year, telling Buster Olney there's a good chance.
Coming up Monday, I'm running point with the biggest stories in the NBA. Find out why Luka Doncic and Bradley Beal should not be all-star starters, and I'm not crazy. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports.
So, Matt, in the last month or so, in what way has your baby most tried to ruin your life?
That's a great question. How has she tried to ruin my life? Well, I was holding her a couple weeks ago when the Chiefs were playing Washington in the fourth quarter, and obviously a tight game, and all of a sudden I realized that she was just peeing all over me. So that was it.
With Joshua Brisco.
And there have been many times where I've been targeted, shall we say, by Maisie.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I would have to acknowledge that. Beards said as we were coming back from break, I've got a new liner for Verderame, and by new liner, I mean an old liner. How long do you assume that was, Matt Verderame of FanSided, who joins us now on the radio?
Oh, I don't assume. I know how long ago it was. It was about 3.5 years ago, because she was, I remember that well. She was about 2 or 3 weeks old, and now she's 3.5. So that was a while ago. But the memory never fades.
Yeah, that's all right. I was wondering which way it would go, if that was just going to be like, if that was just the most memorable of all of sort of the baby accidents that you had at the time, or if that's something that continues to stick with you now and forevermore, because it was truly the worst of those.
She's done a lot worse than that, James. I mean, not from a gross, like a bodily function thing, but in terms of just like shaming me, saying something that just cuts you right down to knees. She's definitely my daughter.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just thinking as you were saying that. Is I feel like growing up a Verderame, you've got to be able to say something simple and devastating by at least age 2.5, maybe. You've got to have something quippy ready to throw out there.
Growing up in this family, there's pretty much 2 requirements. You better eat fast, or you're not going to eat. And be ready every morning to just wake up and pretty much have a fist fight. That's whether it's an actual fist fight or it's just an emotional fist fight, you're going to have one way or the other, pretty much every day.
It just seems like a very like a Hunger Games-esque sort of environment. Only the strong.
That's all right.
Only the strong survive. No, I think that's good. I think there's a sort of Verderame House Game of Thrones energy that
she will never have that though, thankfully, right? Because I'm going to be a therapist retirement plan, the way I grew up. But which I'm sure everyone listening to this who knows anything about me is nodding their head, going, "It's about time you went." But she won't get the New York part of that. Like
right.
She's going to grow up here in the Midwest, in Illinois, where people are much nicer, things are calmer. She's not going to wake up in New York how I woke up. My father just yelling through the wall, "Get up, get up, you're going to miss the bus," screaming at me, hitting the wall until I got up. All right. And, which is fine if you're 18. Not great when you're 7. But, I love them all the same. It's hilarious. That's the song.
You made it. You made it through it. Now look at you now. Yeah, the therapist's retirement plan. That's fantastic. I have a question from we don't do a whole lot of audience questions making it straight through to you, Matt, but I think this one is up your alley. This is from Matt on Twitch. He says, I have a sports question.
Say his whole name.
His Twitch username is Matt McFace Stab. He says, I have a sports question. Since Tom Brady won and crushed Patrick Mahomes, even with the world record trade, I don't know what that means. My question is, how hard do I need to kick a bear in the nuts to take it down?
He says he'll take his answer off the air.
Yeah, which is good because he's not on the air.
I mean, I wouldn't try it. Let's put it that way. First of all, you get close enough to do that, you're probably dead. Okay. Second of all, I think that's an aggressive move.
I just Googled, can you kick a bear in the nuts? Because my thought was, is that even an option? And from Quora, it says if you attempt to kick the bear in the testicles from the front when the bear is towering before you while you are standing prone, then you will delay your death by only a few seconds, since being within testicle reach means the bear can fall on you instantly.
It's going to kill you. Yeah.
Seems-
Let me ask you, have you ever been near a bear, like at any point in time in your life?
I mean, like the polar bear. There's a polar bear exhibit at the Kansas City Zoo.
No, I don't mean a zoo.
That's
like,
the closest that I've ever been to a bear.
Okay, I grew up in the country, and I used to play golf. In fact, I still do whenever I go back to New York all the time. It's one course, and it's a beautiful course, but it's just kind of out in the sticks. And I remember we're driving out once. It's one of those roads. It's like one lane. Like if somebody's coming the other way, you kind of have to get over.
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy and I are probably about 17 years old, driving up there, and there was just a black bear standing on the side of the road. Like literally looked like it was just chilling out hitchhiking. And we just pulled up and rolled down the window. And, what are you doing? What are you doing? And the thing just like looked at us. You could tell it was just kind of like idiot. And it just like slowly walked off the side of the road. They're cool. I mean, they're docile. I wouldn't try to kick one. But you know, like if you grew up out in the sticks like I did. I mean, you get some recycling bins. You're going to get some every once in a while out on the deck. You know, you turn on the porch light. There's a black bear hanging out. Like, it is what it is. Wouldn't want to antagonize it, but
no.
They're cool. They're big. They're fun to look at.
I think our official stance should just be, don't try to kick a bear anywhere. You're going to lose your face, probably. That's...
You'll lose more than that.
You'll lose your face if you're lucky.
Bear.
Yeah, it's a bear. It's our official response to the official answer to the question there, Matt McFay stab, is don't kick a bear.
His follow-up is, right, what if I really, really wanted to?
I mean, I don't care if you really want to or not. It's going to kill you.
Right, I mean, yeah, you're going to...
I mean, you can... Listen, I don't care. I with all due respect here to Mr. McFay stab, I don't know the man. You want to do it? Go nuts, man. It's going to be the end. But you know, maybe that's your way you want to go out. I can't speak to that.
It reminds me of Saving Private Ryan, where Tom Hanks is just laying there on the ground shooting his pistol at the tank. That's basically what it is at that point.
Yeah, that seems about right.
It's an interesting metaphor, but somehow well put.
Yeah, it's graceful as ever, Beards. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, listen. If you've decided that's how you want to make your grand exit, I guess, I don't know. I mean, I would say don't do it, just sort of to protect myself legally. But if I probably can't stop you. I would just recommend not doing that. You know what else I would recommend not doing, Matt? Putting all your eggs in the Carson Wentz basket. That's a professional radio segue right there. I don't know if it's kicking a bear in the balls.
Radio went out the window a while ago.
That's definitely. I don't think you can say the phrase "kick a bear in the testicles" and continue kind of being professional radio man. But
no, it's over.
But listen, I gotta take what I can get. I do want to know what you thought whenever you saw the Carson Wentz trade come down and the details of it and everything. Because it wasn't like they didn't give up 3 first-round picks or whatever, so it didn't seem like a disaster in terms of draft capital. But it also doesn't seem to me terribly likely to turn out incredibly well for either team, because the Eagles are eating a bunch of dead cap. The Colts have decided that Carson Wentz from 2017 is still in there somewhere, and I'm not sure either of them are going to end up looking too great at the end of this. But what did you think? I'm pretty flexible on this one, if I'm honest.
So my first thought was, of course, he got traded. Mm-hmm. And I actually reached out to a source today, and I'm going to write a little bit about the trade over the weekend and kind of glean some inside info on it. But essentially, look, he wanted to go to Indianapolis. Now, that doesn't mean the Eagles took a lesser offer, but he wanted to go there. The Colts were, at least somewhat excited, somewhat intrigued by the interest, obviously, and they made the move. The one thing I will say, and I'm sure a lot of the audience already understands this, maybe there's some people out there who don't quite think of these things in terms of the intricacies because they just don't care, and I don't blame them. But, when the trade happens, you always see certain people out there in the Twitter sphere who love to carry a little water, and it's like, Carson Wentz got traded to Indianapolis. this is a great chance for him to start over because he's been great. It's like, no, he hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
They're eating $34 million of dead cap. You know how much relief they got by trading him? Zero. Okay? So now they get relief after this year.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, in a year, they are $50 million over the cap. They traded him and got zero relief. What does that tell you about what they think of Carson Wentz?
Yeah.
So whenever you see somebody out there like, hey, you know what? Colts got a real asset. No, they didn't. They're not going to real asset. Now, I don't blame the Colts. This might sound weird. That's what I just said. But I don't blame the Colts for making the move because they're looking at it and saying, we do not have a quarterback.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brisset's in free agency. Jacob Eason is a flyer from the fifth round we took last year. Phillip Rivers retired. We don't draft high enough to go get a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance or a Trevor Lawrence. And if we're going to get up in the top five, we're going to give up an absolute boatload of picks.
Mm-hmm.
So our head coach was the Philadelphia offensive coordinator when Wentz was at his best. They have a really good working relationship. Our guy thinks he can fix him. Let's give that a shot for a third. And if it doesn't work out, a second. If it does work out, it converts to a first. But who cares? If it works out, what do you care that you're giving up a third return?
Yeah.
So I understand the trade. I don't mind the trade for the Colts. The only thing I'll say is when you start going down this road of always trying to kind of patchwork that position, you turn into the Bears.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? And to give credit, I've seen multiple people say this on Twitter, you turn into the 90s Chiefs.
Yep.
Where it's like, yeah, we're good. We just need a quarterback. We could just and then you kind of go down this road. Wentz has been good 1 year of his career.
Yeah.
And that is, to me, a deep concern. So I get it. I get why they did it. But do I think it's going to make Indianapolis like a co-favorite in the AFC with the Chiefs? No, I don't.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Even if you get a better they're basically guaranteeing to themselves they're going to get a better version of Carson Wentz than last year. If they get last year's Carson Wentz, this is an apocalypse. But they're saying we're going to get a much better version of Carson Wentz. Maybe it looks closer to his one excellent year, whatever. But I think you're right to say, hey, I understand why the Colts said this is the best thing that we could do right now. That logic, the situation is not the same, but that logic feels kind of 2013 Alex Smithy of just like we don't like any of the quarterbacks actually available to us. So we're going to get this veteran that we think we can make the most out of. Again, right. I'm sanding off a lot of corners in that comp, but at the very least, I understand kind of the mindset that leads to that. I also don't know if I agree with what seems to be the Colts' opinion of themselves, which is that if we get, an above-average version of Carson Wentz, but not his MVP caliber pre-injury production, that we are actually going to be a legit contender in the AFC. They're probably a legit contender in that division because that division's a mess right now. But, then the Titans aren't terrible, obviously. The other two teams have a lot going on. But I don't know. I don't know if I buy the idea that even if it goes relatively well for the Colts, that they're going to be able to make that much noise in the AFC. What do you make of that?
Obviously, barring injury, because injuries can change any team at any time. Their ceiling, even if Wentz is great, is the divisional round.
Yeah.
They're not better than Buffalo, who, to be fair, they did outplay in the playoffs, but they lost the game. Like, ultimately, they went home. And I don't think they're any better. Like, are they better than Baltimore? I don't think so. I guess if Wentz played like at an MVP caliber level, you could make the argument, but I don't know. Like, here's the problem I have. Okay, everybody keeps talking about how, Wentz, he's been behind this awful offensive line. They stunk last year.
Yeah.
They have been great up front in Philadelphia for years on end. Jason Kelsey, Jason Peters, Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson. It's a pretty good offensive line. Like, I don't understand this idea. And the Colts just lost the left tackle Costanzo to retirement. So it's not like. And the other side of this thing is, so who's he throwing the ball to? T.Y. Hilton's a free agent, and he's older. Now, he's still a productive player, but we'll see if he comes back. They don't, Mo Alley Cox and Jack Doyle are your tight ends. They're not bad, but there's no Darren Waller in that list, right? So you're like, okay. I do like Jonathan Taylor quite a bit. He was great as a rookie at running back down the stretch. But it's like, who's he like Michael Pittman? Michael Pittman's intriguing, but they to me, they're not Kansas City. They're not Buffalo. They're probably not Baltimore. I agree with you. I think they're probably right there with like Tennessee.
Yeah.
They're they're different teams, but they're that level of team, and then we'll see how things shake. But I think the Colts are good. I think they're a playoff team. But unless they really just nail the draft. Now, the one thing with the Colts, they do have cap space.
Mm-hmm.
So they could go now. So that could change. But as they stand, I think maybe they could win a playoff game. And that's about it.
I think that's one of the reasons that Deshaun Watson continues to be such a fascinating offseason topic that we're going to continue to get so much mileage out of, is that, like, because we talked about, and I saw the tweet from Woody Page quoting John McClain, and we'll circle back on that. But, like, I basically spent, the majority of the first segment of tonight's show talking about, hey, here's why you as a Chiefs fan should care that Deshaun Watson doesn't go to Denver. Because I think if he does end up in Denver, regardless of what they have to give up, he immediately, like almost single-handedly, brings that team from whatever, a 4 to a 7 or a 3 to an 8. Like, there is a big jump from what any team looks like with or without Deshaun Watson. Look at what he will leave the Texans dropping to if he's no longer there. So leaving the specifics of the John McClain report out for the time being, what did you make whenever you saw kind of a little bit of buzz about Deshaun Watson thinking that maybe he could make it work in Denver, and what that would, if that would make sense in your mind for Denver to try to follow up on that?
Oh, God, if you're Denver, I'd trade the franchise. I mean, yes, I would even. Who do they have? Look, with all due respect to the Mizzou listeners to your show.
Yes.
If you really, really, really want to be generous, Drew Lock is maybe the 25th best quarterback in the NFL.
Mm.
I'd argue he's 28th,
Mm-hmm.
29th. Like, he's not good.
Yeah.
He's not good.
Not happening.
I can tell you right now, the Chiefs are not sitting up at night worrying about how they're going to beat Drew Lock.
Right.
Okay? They're wishing they could play Drew Lock 16 times. So, look, if you're the Broncos, you're absolutely calling them up and saying, hey, we'll give you 3 first-round picks in Cortland Sutton. Is that what it's going to take?
Yeah.
That's great. Now, that said, look, I agree. If they somehow got Watson, do I think they're all of a sudden a contender for the division? No. Because the problem – see, that's the one reason I think it'd be weird if Watson wanted to go there. And I don't say this to pander to Kansas City, but the reality is you're going to be in a division where you're just not the best quarterback in it. You're always going to be bumping up against – you got to beat Mahomes.
Yeah.
Got to find a way to beat – and Herbert's no slouch himself.
Yep.
So, like, if I'm Watson, I'd far rather go to the AFC East. Okay, yeah, like, I get Josh Allen, but Watson's as good as Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And then you start looking at it, and you're like, all right, look, if I go to Miami, like, I know we can get free agents. It's Miami.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a heck of a lot easier time getting them there than to Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
I like my head coach. I like our defense. I like my lifestyle. Like that, to me, if I'm Deshaun, heck, I'm not Deshaun Watson, but I would think if I were in that situation, I want to go to Miami. I want to go to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like, those are the types of teams. So, that said, if you're Denver, yeah, I'd move heaven and earth if you want to do it. But the one thing nobody is talking about, but it's reality, is as much as Watson and his camp have been banging the drum to get out of there, the Texans, dysfunctional as they may be, have repeatedly said, we are not trading him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't mean they won't. But it does mean that he is going to have to push a lot harder than he's pushed to this point to get out of there. This might even be a thing where he's got to sit out a year, sit out half a year, at least sit out probably into camp. Like, he's going to have to really make them change their minds. Because the reality is, if they trade him, they're an expansion team.
Yep.
There's no two ways. They're going 1-15 if they trade him.
Yeah. It's interesting because I mean, I'll take the heat check from you on what you feel like is how it's going to play out. You can text me on a daily basis and say, today I've moved from this to this on Deshaun Watson. Because I can't think of many situations in which my sort of working opinion has changed more from a report to report basis where, because you have to start. If you just have to start believing that he's not going to get traded. That's got to be your starting point because that quarterback never gets traded. But it's just been thing after thing after thing after thing. And the Texans are like this special type of dysfunctional right now that has made me second guess that. And then the idea, I don't think you mentioned Carolina. There have been some rumors, not really reports, but rumors around Carolina, what they'd give up. And that would be a lot of fun. And I imagine Watson would probably have fun in that offense. Let's say McCaffrey's in a part of the trade or whatever. It doesn't matter. It would be a better spot for him than Houston right now. I just can't think of many examples of sort of public perception among people who know what they're talking about being more volatile than the Deshaun Watson conversation that we're having right now.
No, there's not. But I will say this. I don't care. Jack Easterby, Nick Caserio, whatever. If I was Cal McNiff, the owner of that team, I would tell them on no uncertainty, if you trade him, you're fired.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you do. I don't care if he sits out for a whole year. If you trade him, you're fired. Because he's 25 years old, and I get it. I don't blame Watson at all for signing a life-changing contract.
Mm-hmm.
Who wouldn't? But he signed it.
Yeah.
He's under their control, I believe, for 6 years. So if I'm Houston, saying there's no way I'm not trading you. Are you kidding? There's no way. Now, he sits out a whole year or something. Okay, and by the way, he could end up getting moved here in July. I mean, that team is so dysfunctional.
Yeah.
That Easterby could just walk in there one day and go, you know what, we're trading him. We're trading him. I don't care. Belichick says he'll give us 2 firsts and a grand slam at Denny's, and that's enough. He's throwing the grand slam. We're going to do it. I mean, the NFL is a weird business.
Yeah.
It is a business of relationships. It is a business of ego. It is a business of bravado. Those things create the proverbial Molotov cocktail at times.
Yeah.
Where things just blow up. So, look, would I bet on him getting traded? I wouldn't. I think it's more likely than I thought it was 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think at the end of this all, if you're the Texans, you have to just make it right. You cannot move him. You're the Jets if you move him.
Yep. And they might just be the Jets. they might be the Jets of the South. Like the Cal McNair thing is funny just because right now I don't know if he would say that to Jack Easterby. I think Jack Easterby might say that to Cal McNair and just try to confuse him.
It's true.
I don't know, man. It's so bizarre. It's because listen, we can have our various opinions on Carson Wentz or Matt Stafford or Jared Goff or Trevor Lawrence, whatever. But we're having football opinions where you can at least understand typically where people are coming from, even if you think that their stance is dumb. I don't understand what we're seeing in Houston still for the most part, and that is jarring to me.
I think you're just seeing an owner who's, by all accounts, everyone I've spoken to, a good guy, but maybe somebody who's not all the way invested. There are some owners who are day-to-day, they're involved. So whatever you want about Jerry Jones, he's involved. He's involved, probably too involved, but he's involved. Then there are other owners who it's like, yeah, call me when the game's on. I'll show up on Sunday, I'll sit up in the box, it'll look great, I'll have a drink, and win, lose, draw, whatever, check's clearing. And I think with the Texans, look, they hired Easterby. Easterby got some power in that building. And we always joke. I actually, the further away we get from this, I really am starting to believe this. Bill O'Brien was holding that whole thing together.
It doesn't even sound like a joke to me anymore.
And not because he was good at his job, but because he had power in that building. And once he got fired, there was this vacuum for power.
Yep.
And Easterby was like, that's great. I'm here now. McNair's kind of out of the picture. I can come in. Look, all you need to know about that organization is they brought in a search firm to hire a new general manager and spent 6 figures on it. Didn't hire anybody off that list. Hired Nick Caserio, who by all accounts was a good personnel guy, but maybe not quite ready to be a GM, and then gets a 6-year, $36 million deal. And it was just like, McNair didn't bat an eye. It was like, all right, that's fine. I mean, Easterby went and he hired a guy from his stomping grounds, and that's how it worked out. But it's just very dysfunctional. The hardest part, too, if you're the Texans, look, as bad as the stuff is in Watson, you have no picks.
Yeah.
It's not even like you can go to him and go, listen, Deshaun, I know we're terrible. We have a top 3 pick. We got another top 35 pick in the second round, and we're going to go get you a receiver. We're going to sign Will Fuller. We're going to draft a left tackle or right tackle, as it may be, the pair of Tunzel, and we're going to be in. They can't even do any of that.
No,
because none of it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's the perfect example of how to ruin what should have been when they drafted Watson to start of 15 really good years.
Yeah.
But they haven't been able to do it.
It's unbelievable. This is totally different, but there have been a couple of things around sort of the NFL's general finances. Reports that the floor, not reports, I think it's been announced formally, the floor of the salary cap this upcoming year will be $180 million, and there's a little wiggle room above that still, but 180 is the new floor. And then also there was a report that came out just earlier tonight, I think, that the NFL is looking for a 100% price increase in TV rights payments from everybody looking forward. Apparently Disney's the one that's pushing back on it right now. I don't know that you've got anything, exclusive on any of that, but you know what's going on in the NFL's finance world as well as anybody. What do you make of those two things? And as we get a little bit more of a full picture of what this year's salary cap is going to be, and you can start projecting again for the years to come in a post-COVID world.
Yeah, so look, I don't have anything exclusive on the numbers per se, but I will say this. Look, first of all, kudos to Peter King, who was the one who reported that on Monday, his column over at NBC Sports. And he reported in there that he was told it might be a 100% increase. So it's incredible NFL business, but hey, football's dying. If Disney doesn't want to double the pack, that's great. You know what the NFL is going to say? Fantastic. You're gone because we'll find somebody who will double it.
Yeah.
They will absolutely sell that package and not even blink. And that'll be that. They'll move Monday night somewhere else. The one thing I will say is agents, the players, the teams, very rarely all agree on anything.
Mm-hmm.
They all do not want to see this cap go down.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be the proverbial bloodbath for these teams, having to cut guys left and right. And for players, this is one thing I will say. I have talked to a lot of agents over the last 7 to 10 days who have said, if we go into free agency and this cap is 180, you're going to see the stars get paid. They always get paid.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the second-tier guys who are just going to get crushed. It's going to be ugly. You're going to be talking about guys who normally get $8-9 million a year, 3-year deal. It's going to be a 1-year, $3 million deal.
Yeah.
There is just no money. And if you miss out early in free agency, which would be a feeding frenzy the first 24, 48 hours, there's no money.
Yeah.
There's no money to be had. I mean, you're going to have real players who are in August without a job because there's no money. They're going to be waiting for a guy to get hurt. So that said, look, Peter King did say that he thought, he had heard, I should say, that we might see these deals come in next month. Well, free agency tampering period starts March 15th. They've got to have a cap, of course, set before that. Right now, everybody's kind of in a holding pattern in the league, at least most teams are. If the NFL can broker these TV deals, and they're trying, I think you will see, this is just kind of my opinion, but I think you will see the cap go up, not up from where it currently is, but it might be flat. Maybe it's 195.
Interesting.
These teams, they'll borrow from future years. I remember reporting last year in Indianapolis, of course, right before COVID destroyed everything. There was a thought that this year's cap was going to be $240 million.
Yeah, I remember talking about that at the time.
There were a lot of people in the league. I had multiple sources who would know, who told me, look, cap might go up as much as to 240. We'll at least get to 220, 225, depending on how the TV shakes out. So I could definitely see a scenario where they say, all right, you know what? We'll go to 195 this year. Next year, instead of going to 220, maybe we go to 210, but so what?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll jump after that. But I think if they get those TV deals done in a timely fashion, I could definitely see the league trying to keep that cap as close to where it is right now.
That's really, I hadn't even thought about these deals having an implication that soon. 'Cause like you said, we're a month out from needing to have something in place already. But it's really interesting to see exactly how flexible that all still is. Matt, thank you as always for the time and for just from kicking bears to salary cap and breaking down dollars and cents. Nobody more well-rounded in the NFL media world than Matt Verderame, because he'll tell you not to kick bears and also tell you not to, avoid trading for a crappy quarterback. Great.
Versatility is key, Brisco. Versatility.
It
his
really
restaurants.
The more you can do.
There's the food takes, the bear kicking takes, the football information. Best in the business. Thank you, Matt. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks a lot. Take care, guys.
Matt Verderame of FanSided. Follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderame. Check out his work at fansided.com. Seriously, as the Stack in the Box podcast, the Airhead Addict podcast, there's just we have an embarrassment of excellent people covering the NFL either here in Kansas City or near Kansas City. Know what they're talking about. I'll put Verderame up against anybody, and we'll have a whole bunch of peers at the top of that pyramid. But Verderame belongs among them. Great stuff there on a number of things. I want to talk some more about all of that, including why you shouldn't kick a bear. We have to take a break first. So we'll do that next.
Did you know you can listen to Almost Entirely Sports anywhere, anytime? Well, you can. Just search for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
Now that football season is over, spring training is right around the corner. Even if it doesn't start on time, you have no excuse not to start your own spring training. You can get yourself back into game shape by spring, since it only takes 40 days to lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds with NJ Diet. NJ Diet's program starts with bioenergetically personalized supplements based on your hair, saliva, and blood work. Then, NJ Diet uses DNA testing to create your ideal diet and workout regimen to help you keep it off. Don't want to do it alone? NJ Diet is with you every step of the way. You will be fully monitored by their certified staff to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water. You'll also get the doctor's personal email and phone number. NJ Diet offers live online video consultations, or they have a location close by the Lighton Tower right here in Overland Park. Call 855-5-NJ-DIET or go to njdiet.com and lose the weight for good. That's njdiet.com.
Do you purchase products for the food service industry? Then get Regal. Healthcare, get Regal. Hospitality, get Regal. Go to getregal.com. Regal Distributing is a local Kansas City company in the food service and janitorial industry for over 60 years. Regal Distributing saves your business time and money by providing customers with the right product. The time is now to buy from a company that will service the heck out of you. Buy local, buy smart, and buy from a trusted company that has been helping their customers grow for decades. Visit getregal.com and get Regal today.
Small business owners don't have the patience for nonsense, especially when it comes to their internet provider. They want the best services for the best price. Simply put, that's Spectrum Business. They give you great value, zero nonsense. Just call 833-919-2121. You'll get fast, reliable internet and phone with no contracts and no hidden fees, all for a price that could cut your bill in half. Spectrum Business. Call today, 833-919-2121.
Wedding planning can be overwhelming, but getting your wedding bands doesn't have to be. Come to Shane Company and we'll make it easy. Our jewelry consultants are pros at this. They'll help you find a wedding band that'll pair perfectly with your engagement ring. With the largest selection in town, you'll have lots of beautiful options. We have hundreds of unique bands for women in white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, and platinum. Browse a range of styles like romantic infinity, elegant floral, trending contour, and sparkling channel set. For men, in addition to classic gold and platinum, we also have contemporary metals, titanium, cobalt, tantalum, and more, with options to customize your band. Drop by a store or set up a virtual or an in-store appointment with a jewelry consultant in advance. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Hey sports fans, Joni here, and I'm excited to tell you about the newly opened In the Zone Cryo. In the Zone Cryo will help decrease pain and inflammation, accelerate muscle recovery, increase your energy, and boost your immune system. In the Zone Cryo also offers Instasculpt fat reduction, personal training, infrared heat, compression therapy, and more. Mention Sports Radio 810 and receive 10% off your first service. Come see us at College and Metcalf. Call 913-208-4859 or visit inthezonecryo.com. Feel, look, and perform your best with In the Zone Cryo.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports.
I'm almost a little too tall for the mic, but it's easily, I can hold it, right?
That
I
is
can keep it up.
that is a challenge.
I
though.
can hold it up to my face. That's not a problem.
With Joshua Brisco.
Well, listen, whenever you can't keep it up, we do have ads for that.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Thanks again to that Verderame of FanSided. Go support the things that he does as he continues to make time for this stupid radio show that starts off by asking questions about if you should kick a bear in the nuts or not, or how hard it would have to be. There's got to be an answer to that, though, right? Like it might just be if you kicked the bear in half. Like you kicked the bear so hard that it basically cut it in half. Like if you had an Iron Man suit with like rockets, you could just sort of bisect the. Is that the word that I'm thinking of?
That would be messy.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying. Again, I still don't think it would be good to do.
Matt McFay's staff followed up though with, "I want to go kicking and screaming a bear in the nuts."
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah,
that'll do it. Yeah,
both of those things will happen.
That's how he wants to go. And then he was impressed the fact that you were able to turn kicking a bear in the nuts into a transition.
Yeah, I think we could play this
impressive.
game if you want, but I think you guys could give me like any two. Let's just make it an improv game. Just give me a sports topic and something nonsensical, and let's see if I can turn it into a segue.
Hang on, let me get music.
Well, you guys have to figure out how you want to make this work. Maybe it needs to be an NFL topic. I don't know, but I think I can get us there. Is the music ready, Beards?
It is ready.
Let's just do the thing. All right, so we're going to see. It's basically going to be me asking the audience for a location. In fact, Twitch can play along wherever you're watching the show, but Twitch appears to be the only one with the chat right now.
Yeah.
So if Twitch users can play along, give me a sports topic and or something to transition from, more or less. Rudy and Beards, you guys can kick it off. Set the example.
Mitch Trubisky.
Okay, Beards.
Let's see, Mitch Trubisky. And
No. Don't think about Mitch Trubisky. Just give me just a thing.
Going to the movies.
You know something I haven't done or wanted to do in a while? Go to the movies. I mean, I miss being at the movies. Ideally, being there for like a big blockbuster. I've always kind of liked it whenever it's just a less full theater. I'm not trying to sit really close to strangers even in the pre-COVID times.
For sure.
But right now, those movie theaters are empty, and it makes a lot of sense. Much like Mitch Trubisky's bandwagon. It's empty, there's nobody in there, and I completely understand why. Do I get like a ding or something?
Hold on, let me go out my sound
Can you go steal the
I've got a,
feud sound effects or something?
If you need a ding, go to Border Patrol dailies. There's a ding ding sound. So we have a Twitch comment. Why Bruce Weber should be fired and drinking a stout.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, listen. Let's. I'm going to start from drinking a stout. Did you see, by the way, that Boulevard is doing basically a lighter version of the unfiltered wheat beer?
I'm very excited.
It's something 100. It might just be called Boulevard 100 or Unfiltered 100, something like that. 100 calories.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Love a Boulevard wheat. But I also understand that maybe some people are like, it's kind of a heavy beer. I get it. It's fine. Specifically talking about stouts, not my favorite in terms of beer selection. I'm typically more of a lighter beer guy.
Same.
Not necessarily even light beer, but like think about even like the color.
Yeah.
That's typically a pretty good indicator, although I can't do IPAs.
I'm not going super dark beer.
Yeah, and sometimes I've enjoyed it, and sometimes it's been a little bit hard to swallow. Much like the fact that K-State fans need to be appreciating right now, which is that it's time to move on from Bruce Weber. This has been a disastrous stretch for K-State, and it's not just this year. I mean, it's been tough in there for a while. Basically, since Dean Wade was out, that team has been down, and you can't have that failure year after year after year and continue to be at the helm of that program. Tough to swallow.
Impressive.
Thank you. What's next? Give me a hold the sports topic for a second, but where do I need to begin here? I don't want to look at Twitch. You guys can give me
there's
give me
nothing
something
new on Twitch
All right,
yet.
that's fine.
So where do I want you to begin at? You know what? I want you to begin. No, I almost gave you something, and it was sports related.
Well, you can hold the sports one. Just anything.
Because I was going to give you I almost gave you a Devin Booker, and then was going to do a football thing, and that's just sports to sports.
It's not as impressive.
Yeah,
probably.
Start with your hat collection.
My hat
I was
collection.
going to go clothes related too. Yeah.
So I have a ton of hats. I've had a ton of hats for a very long time.
Do we know where you're going yet, though?
No. I think at some point it's like a freestyle.
Oh, okay.
Where like then eventually you're just gonna say Devin Booker's Sons or
Okay.
whatever. So I'm just gonna go and then you can interrupt me.
Oh, I got a good one.
But I've got a ton of hats. I've collected hats more or less since I was really young. In fact, like I've had times that I've had to just get rid of hats that I used to love and wear all the time just because my head got bigger. So I had that hat when I was like 12 years old.
Sammy Watkins, free agency.
And sometimes through life, you have to go through difficult changes. And for me, sometimes that's been like a hat that I really wanted to come in clutch, but whenever I needed it in a big moment, I was having a bad hair day, I found out finally that I had gotten to the point where my head had gotten too big, my hair had gotten too long, and those snaps just were not snapping anymore. So I had to decide, you know what, I've loved this hat. This hat came through in some really important moments for me, but it just wasn't able to do it whenever I needed it most. And also, it was a little too expensive at the time. Some regret that I dealt with for a while after the fact. Much like the Chiefs and Sammy Watkins, I think it may be time for for finding new horizons for both sides. It just doesn't fit anymore.
That was well done.
Thank you. Animal
Animal Crossing New Horizons.
I would love to talk about Animal Crossing New Horizons for longer than just this bit, but I am afraid to say or even go look and see how many hours I have spent playing Animal Crossing New Horizons. I dipped back in a little bit for the festival event that they did just because new items tempt me. Their winter has actually been pretty good. I'm not playing on a daily basis, but I'm checking in pretty frequently. I have considered maybe letting some of my villagers move out and trying to get some new ones. Can I get a sports topic?
Taking another running back in the first round this year.
And why the Chiefs should do it?
Yes.
And so, specifically to the issue of, look, could Nintendo, instead of giving us Mario pipes and the new Mario update that's coming out and giving us Mario and Wario
Hey,
and
the
Waluigi
new Mario
and
game,
Luigi,
you're going to be a cat fighting Bowser.
Animal Crossing, even now, after this game's been out for close to a year at this point, they're still saying, all right, what do the people want? Quality of life updates. What are we going to give them instead?
Never.
Mario skins. We're going to give them warp pipes and bums and Petey Piranha. We're going to give them piranha plants.
It is Mario's anniversary.
I understand, 35th anniversary of Mario, I understand those things, but the thing that they are putting into the game, that they're adding to it, is here's some new items, here's occasionally some new clothes, and then here's all this Mario specialty stuff, when what this game really needs is some important quality of life upgrades. They're basically drafting running backs in the first round. They're saying, here, why don't you go ahead and take some extra little things that might seem nice, but really it's not going to have the staying power that you'd like for this thing to have, when we should be using this exact same space to do things that are going to improve the game as a whole or the team as a whole for years to come.
Slim Chickens.
This is my last one. We'll do one more.
Slim Chickens.
Slim Chickens. Gosh darn, I would really love some Slim Chickens. We talked about going to get some chicken after the show last night. Beers, I believe you did.
I did.
I did not. I went home. Renee put a frozen pizza in the oven. It was good. I enjoyed the pizza. But it's now been a few days since I've had fried chicken.
Rudy,
I'd really love to go to Slim's. Although I don't know how late they're open. We're on until 10 tonight. Probably gonna, Cane's being open till 11 is a huge clutch move. I'd love to have Slim's be open till 10 though.
Phoenix Suns.
And speaking of lights in my life, things that keep me going on a day-to-day basis, things that are delicious and nutritious. The Phoenix Suns. No, listen, let's be serious, folks. No. Let's be serious. Let's let everybody hone in on this. So here's the thing. I love Slim Chickens. I think it's excellent.
Yeah.
I also think that if
it's
had...
also open until 11 tonight.
Is it really?
Yeah,
What sauce is
only
Devin
on
Booker?
Fridays.
What sauce is Devin Booker?
Only on Fridays?
Friday and Saturday. Every other day is 10.
Devin Booker is the chicken.
Okay.
But he's finally gotten
Chris Paul.
the sauces of Chris Paul.
Well, what is
Adding
he?
on the rest, specifically Chris
I
Paul.
need
Chris
specifics.
Paul is spicy barbecue.
Good call.
It's the piece you wanted to add there.
DeAndre Ayton.
He's the fries. Because sometimes they're right exactly what you want them to be. You need them to be, and that meal is elite in that moment. And sometimes it's a little bit of a disappointment.
Bridges.
Mikal Bridges, I think, is the Cayenne Ranch. Came to the party a little bit later for me personally, but has really elevated in a tremendous way
Alex Len.
my overall experience. Alex Len is the dumpster that you throw your trash into whenever you're done.
Luka Doncic.
Luka, you know what? I'm going to go with Luka because this is going to be how we dismount. Here's the thing about the Phoenix Suns and Slim Chickens. Luca is the toast from Cane's.
I knew you were going to go there.
Luca is Raising Cane's
so happy.
toast. I
We know each other way too
love
well.
the Raising Cane's toast.
We spend way too much time with each other.
I'm not going to Cane's, first in all circumstances. It's wonderful. I really do love Cane's. But Slim's feels like it's mine. But man, if they could have taken that toast instead of the DeAndre Ayton toast. Maybe he is the toast
Maybe
and someone else can be the fries. They
It's not
just
bad
have
toast.
It's not
It's
bad
just-
toast.
Yeah.
It's just not the Cane's toast. I really
Yeah.
like Slim's toast. Slim's toast is
Yeah,
good.
it's good toast.
It is good toast.
Yeah. A toast will make $150 million in his career.
But if they could have gotten Raising Cane's toast, it would literally be the most perfect thing that's ever existed in the history of the sport and or meal. You want to hit it again, Beard?
That was the end of it. It's a weird clip.
Oh, there it is.
It was the resonating of the bell. that
Hit
you
it
heard.
again. Give it to me one more time.
I have to wait for it to stop.
I mean, just click it a couple times. Just click it real
Can
quick.
you just bash it?
Yeah, you
I
just click
don't-
it. You just click it fast.
No,
That's how.
because
Beards,
it
I
stops
literally,
and starts
Beards,
it.
I literally did it today.
Well, I had it in cart too. That's why I was doing it that way. Let's see. Something drops.
Remember,
Yeah, Beards is telling me I can't do something that I literally did today.
for peak
There you
payoff.
go.
There it is.
There we
for peak
go.
payoff. Remember
There
that I
we
compared
go.
Luka Doncic to Raising Cane's toast. That's the important part. Let's take a break. Whenever we come back, I'll do something less impressive.
Take the show with you wherever you go. Listen live on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app and 810WHB.com.
Your Kansas City Acura dealers are partnering with quarterback sensation Patrick Mahomes in support of his charity, 15 and the Mahomies, a foundation dedicated to improving the lives of children by focusing on health, wellness, and providing resources for communities in need. Test drive any Acura at J. Wolf Acura and J. Wolf Acura of Overland Park, and they'll make a donation on your behalf. Plus, you'll be entered for a chance to win a Patrick Mahomes jersey. Shop, save, and make a difference at your Kansas City Acura dealers.
Of all the things on your home project to-do list right now, make chimney cleaning top priority. Now's the time to find and repair damage from this year's use and be ready for next season. But it's dirty business, and it demands expertise. Do what other homeowners do. Hire Complete Home Concepts. Our experts are certified by the Chimney Safety Institute of America, something many chimney sweeps can't say. Ensure your chimney is completely safe. Call Complete Home Concepts, 816-471-HOME, 816-471-HOME.
Car enthusiasts, looking for the best place to store and show off your car? Check out the KC Underground, Kansas City's car collection. KC Underground is part of the Kansas City Automotive Museum and provides a safe place to store your vehicle with 24-hour monitoring while sharing its history. Call today to reserve a spot underground for your car. Use the promo code 810 and you'll receive a 10% discount. Go to thekcunderground.com or call 816-492-7147 and mention 810-WHB. If you can see the skyline, the KC Underground is just moments away.
Don't let the cold weather keep you from getting your work done outside. At Vanderbilt's, they have all the gear you need to keep you comfortable in the great outdoors. Insulated jackets and bibs from Carhartt and Byrne, neoprene boots from Boggs and Dry Shot, great layering pieces like Brawny and Western flannel, fleece, and sweatshirts, as well as stocking caps, gloves, and insulated socks. Vanderbilt's keeping you warm for the last 45 years, with locations in Lawrence, Topeka, and Wamego.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/news. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
I say pretty frequently, I don't have a great memory, right? My best memories are Slim Chickens based.
On Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Rudy, are you willing to talk about the Pokemon thing that's happening tomorrow and your specific role in it? Because you've gone head first into Pokemon Go.
Oh yeah.
It really, for me, the thing that separates, and honestly, I'm really glad that you are in the role that you are here. So Rudy and I both, maybe a year ago, a little longer now.
I think it's probably been a little bit longer now. Yeah.
We dove back into Pokemon Go after some extended time away from it.
I want to say we're probably about 18 months-ish.
That might
I feel
be,
like it was during the
that might be
summer,
true.
but not like last summer, but 2 summers ago.
They've done some things to make it like playable in a pandemic when you're not exactly walking around parks with your friends or whatever. But
I would say they've done pretty good compared to what most like companies or like games typically do.
Yeah. And, essentially at this point, I just enjoy still having, because your phone sort of feels like a Pokedex.
Yeah.
It's just it's kind of a fun thing to have, and you can, just check in every once in a while. But tomorrow they're having this huge event, not a sponsor. Oh, I would take it if we could get it.
That would be something.
But they're having this big event.
You want us to open Pokemon cards on Twitch, Pokemon Company? Sure, send them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll open whatever digital Pokemon cards. I'll play Pokemon Go on Twitch, whatever works. But they're doing this event tomorrow that to get the full version of the event, it is, I believe, $12 for a ticket.
$11.99.
They've had some $1 events as of late for community days, and I've gone in on most of those.
And to point out, they are doing this because it is the 25th anniversary of Pokemon in general. So this is to celebrate, obviously the 25th anniversary of Pokemon.
The thing that I'm trying to figure out is whatever happens tomorrow going to be worth $12 to play it? What I was going to say, by the way, is that the thing that Rudy does that has me feeling like I've got a heroin habit that's under control, and Rudy has a heroin habit that is really close to catching up to him, is that Rudy has 2 phones and 2 Pokemon Go accounts.
My older one from way back in the day, and then when I made a new one.
I have just this one that makes me feel sane. I'm playing Pokemon Go in 2021. I should probably have some sort of self-reflection, I think.
I think it's fine. It's still a wildly popular game.
You say I think it's fine. You've got 2 phones, 2 accounts, 2 fast, 2 furious. Regardless, though, I can use you as the barometer of all right, and where am I at? And I feel fine. What I'm trying to figure out is if there's any actual reason for me to just sink in and say, I'm going to basically pay for the DLC, which I've done before. You pay $12 for a game's expansion pack or for some DLC or whatever, that's fine. Pokemon Go specifically, though, it feels sort of like I'm paying $12 for a day of especially good Pokemon Go playing.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that's going to do it for me.
I will say, the thing that hurts this event in general, there's 2 things. One of it is not, I guess both of them, it really is nothing that, the Pokemon Company can do about it. COVID affects us, right? Part of paying for this in theory is really more of the experience, it's the experience of doing it together in theory, right? Being with friends, maybe go to a park, you walk around.
And they've done the go tour thing that is out.
The problem is,
events.
Obviously COVID has affected things. Also, in Kansas, it's very cold during February.
Yeah.
Now, in some places, I almost said Texas. Texas is a bad example right now, though.
True.
In California, it's warm. So, you can
because
safely...
of all of the fires.
Yeah, so you can safely go outside and be distanced with a couple friends. And, maybe you guys just walk around a lightly, visited area. You click some stop, or you go buy some stops. You catch some Pokemon. And it's an event. You have a day out of it. Maybe stop somewhere and get lunch. You have a good time. It's hard to do that here with COVID and the weather. Which definitely makes it lose its value.
Do you want to say how you specifically are going at this tomorrow?
The reason why I'm doing it, and it's very simple.
The shiny Ditto
I want the
good.
shiny Mew and the shiny Ditto. And mostly it's the shiny Mew. Really, the shiny Ditto is just an extra. It's 100% just the shiny Mew because it's just it is one of the only ways to get it, and the other way could literally take me weeks and months and months. So for me, I'm paying the money, the $12 on each account, to just not have to spend months and months and months like soft resetting for something. And I'm all right with that because I don't spend that much money on the game. I spend on average like $2 a month. And so this is kind of like the one time where I just like splurge, and I'm all right with it.
I think that the rationalization there is okay.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure if I'm there.
I would. I only reason why I'm doing this for the Shiny Mew. If they didn't have the Shiny Mew, I would do it on one phone. I would do it on the one account. I want 2 Shiny Mews. And like that might be the issue.
Still can't fully tell if that's heroin behavior or if that's normal and defensible.
It's a Shiny Mew, Josh.
Yeah, that didn't answer my question.
If it was anything else, I wouldn't do it. This is the one thing I would do it for.
If you say so.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Every business should advertise their product or service, but with the expense and advertising choices out there to choose from, many businesses just rely on word-of-mouth referrals. Now there's an answer. For less than $5 per day, KC Referral Network will promote and market your business on 4 of the most effective advertising platforms: radio, direct mail, digital marketing, and referral directory marketing. KC Referral Network. Go to saleskc.com. That's saleskc.com and increase your sales in 30 days. saleskc.com.
Winter is coming, so plan now to keep those bugs out with Augustine Exterminators. Now is the time to establish and or maintain a barrier around your house. Don't let it break down. At Augustine Exterminators, they have you covered. Augustine Exterminators is a family-owned, local business since 1966. All of their techs are certified in both Missouri and Kansas. In fact, check out their amazing reviews from all their KC area customers. They're also a Quality Pro and Green Pro company. Augustine also does carpet, rug, air duct, and tile cleaning. They have an excellent referral program as well. Refer a new customer, and you and they get $25 off their next service. That's right, refer a friend, and you both get $25 off your next service. Shop and buy local with Augustine Exterminators. Call Augustine Exterminators today at 913-359-8627 or go online at AugustineExterminators.com. And Augustine is looking for qualified technicians. So call today at 913-359-8627.
Hey, it's Harley for Window Nation. It's home show season, which homeowners love because they are a great way to get home improvement ideas and save on new projects. Unfortunately, most home shows were canceled, which means homeowners won't get that opportunity, and remodeling companies like us who count on home shows to jumpstart the year lose this much-needed business. That's why we at Window Nation are announcing our first ever virtual home show extravaganza with savings you'll only see once this year. So call now and for a limited time get 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. There is no limit. Plus no down payment, no payments, and no interest for 24 months. Save thousands on interest alone. With over 1 million windows installed and an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau, nobody is more qualified to install your new windows than Window Nation. But hurry, this buy 2 window, get 2 free sale and pay nothing for 2 full years is for a limited time. So call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com today.
When you want Chiefs, follow the leader. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
The mindset that Chiefs fans are going to get to is that every year you're going to have a chance with Patrick Mahomes.
What do you do with Eric Fisher?
When you're talking about bad injuries for offensive linemen, you talk about the back first. In my mind, you talk about the back first, and then you talk about Achilles as second.
Sports Radio 810 WHB. Kansas City's favorite sports station, 20 years and counting. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Jim Basquil. A pair of huge individual performances tonight in the NBA. It's the first of an ESPN twin bill, and Joel Embiid is going off on the Bulls. 49 points, 16 rebounds there, under a minute in Philly with the Sixers up 109-103. How about Jamal Murray? 21 of 25 from the floor, 8 of 10 from beyond the arc. He scores 50. Nuggets best the Cavs 120-103. Nightcap of the ESPN doubleheader has Kawhi and Paul George back in the lineup for the Clippers, home to the Jazz, who sport a 24-5 record. Celtics, Kemba Walker called him out for lack of effort the other night. He scored 28 on this night as Boston's winner 121-109 over the Hawks. On the heels of the loss to the Nets and knowledge that they won't have Anthony Davis for at least a month, Bruce Bowen on what the defending champs will need without AD to stay atop the Western Conference.
You understand what they have, and, the Lakers are missing a huge component as far as their foundational piece in Anthony Davis. So they have to try to figure out exactly how do you change up things, but not change up to the point where you're no longer who you once were. You start to see now that he was an anchor on defense, being able to help side and change and alter shots.
No question about that. Dr. Anthony Fauci cautiously optimistic. Baseball will have fans in the stands come this summer, and a limited number of fans will be allowed to attend the NCAA men's basketball tournament in Indiana. They will be capped at 25% capacity.
Hey, it's Greeny, and Monday, DeMaurice Smith will be with me, the executive director of the NFLPA. Are players really, from now on, going to take total control of their destiny? He knows, and he'll tell you. It's Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Mick Shaffer, not a simp. Next!
On Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Last hour of the week and the return of the Mick. Mick Shaffer, 41 Action News, is back. You were in Tampa because there was the Super Bowl.
That's why.
And then you were gone.
I feel like I'm overmodulated here. Rudy, are you doing anything over there?
Our headphones are so
Is that the deal?
loud.
Okay, yeah.
Is there a master little knob over there?
Well, and I don't.
I'm just going to take them off.
I never like turning the little knob because it'll take it from I can hear to where no, I can't hear to where I can hear in one ear, and now I'm back to not hearing, and now I'm back to both ears. So I'll just rely on Rudy.
As long as Rudy's wearing the headphones, theoretically, like that, he's controlling all the dials and everything. I just took mine off. I like wearing headphones. I like being able to hear myself when we're doing a segment or whatever. But right now, these headphone jacks, your two options are either my ears are going to stop functioning by the end of this hour, or they've already stopped functioning because no audio is coming into my head.
I am twisting a knob that I do not know if it's doing anything.
Whoa. What about, are you helping out with the radio volume, though?
Good one.
So
good one.
I liked how unimpressed Rudy was with that joke.
Put that in for Corey's cut.
That was a good one.
Help him out next week.
Corey needs all the help he can get. I do think that worked, Rudy. I think you cranking that knob fixed our audio issues. That's great.
If there's anything the radio industry has taught me, just crank the knob. Something will usually, it'll just fix itself.
Yeah. And we have so many knob crankers around here already.
That's how I would describe half the 810 staff.
Yeah.
Look at that knob cranker over there. What's up, Jason Anderson?
Yeah, half.
If you're having problems with cranking your knob, we have advertisement for
That's
that.
true. There might be in this next ad break. We may have a knob cranking
There's
ad.
a great chance.
Yeah, there really is. Meg, I've got a lot of very just sort of direct kind of interview questions for you this week. Mostly because I was honestly surprised you didn't end up on the post-game podium after the Super Bowl, because you did throw the best block of the weekend for a person from Kansas City.
It's true.
Viral clip, made its rounds, awful announcing picked it up. You really blew up. You've become a national icon.
What?
Because you about threw a dude into the bay who was hopping into your live shot.
What is the, how many retweets or favorites do you have to get to be viral?
I think whenever news outlets start picking you up, you skip whatever that minimum is.
Yeah.
But I think I would say if you cross 1,000 retweets, it's definitely gone viral.
Oh, wow. Well, then I go viral a lot.
For 1,000
retweets. Oh, yeah.
Retweets.
Sorry, favorites. I'm thinking favorites.
I think that you've got to have, 1,000 retweets, 10,000 likes, or whatever is like legitimately, like it might show up on an explore page kind of viral.
Right.
In terms of like, there's a local viral, right? Where, like, oh, this tweet's really popped off in the Kansas City sports media scene. Like very late last night, I tweeted out a fun Patrick Mahomes joke that's gotten a handful of retweets.
Yes.
That's a nice feeling. But I think you really made something happen. With your clip.
It's about 3,000 likes, 500 some retweets.
But again, you started getting picked up. It's in the internet forever now. If you Google, well, actually, let's see. If you Google awful announcing Mick Shaffer, that's got to be
great.
Look at
that. The good thing is, it was 100% all people like on my side, which never happens on Twitter.
100%,
especially on viral tweets. Even ones that are awesome, you're going to get people that are just Karens, just
Yes.
awful, and Darrens, guy Karens.
Yeah.
It was 100%. I was shocked by that. I had people like breaking down
the technique.
Technique, like love the extension. Get a better base next time.
Yeah.
But really a lot to work with there.
Yeah, my biggest issue was I didn't feel like you finished the play, and
Yes.
by just taking him
But
into
you have
the
to
bay,
realize, though,
like, you should have just really pushed him into the bay.
I
and,
got to
like,
stay on
drove.
camera, though.
It's
I
a
was
good
only about
point.
2/3
Yeah,
the
it's a
way
good
through my
point.
live shot, so I had to take that into consideration.
That's
I
a good
got
point.
PFF grades from people. I got Madden grades from people. I was like a 96. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that, Madden. Thank you.
The headline here is Kansas City reporter Mick Shaffer gives a fan blocking clinic during Super Bowl 55 live report. The subhead is just, don't do this. And then it's a still if you throw in this dude. I got to say, I don't know who this dude is. I don't know if we found this dude or not yet, but this should be his avatar. Like, he should really, he should probably
I
lean
keep
into
waiting for him to, like, sue me or something. I don't know.
Yeah, just to get just have somebody just like randomly show up at 41. He's pretending to be a food delivery guy.
Wow.
And then he just hands you. So here's your papers.
summons.
You've
Yeah.
been served.
It's funny. So the backstory behind that is I was actually having a bad live shot, which is hard to believe.
So
I know.
rare. Yeah.
I was having a bad live shot. It was basically I'd done a bunch, like 10 in a row, and it was on KMCI. It was on 38th spot. So initially I was like, oh, hopefully nobody saw that.
At least
'cause
no
I
one,
was
at least no one
embarrassed.
sees this. Yeah.
And so I'm like kind of stumbling through it. I don't know. They're like, hey, just give us a scene setter. I think they're running video of fireworks. I'm not sure. So at one point I'm like, I think we have video. You're seeing video of fireworks. So it's just bad. So I was kind of pissed at myself.
Yeah.
And so towards the end, I'm wrapping it up, and I see this guy out of the corner of my eye, and to the left of me is the bay. Behind me is the bay. And then the front of me is the camera. So I'm protected on 3 sides, but there's 50 people around watching. You never see that. And so they're doing this big fireworks display. It was a horrible place for a live shot. COVID notwithstanding.
Right.
Anytime.
Yeah.
But then throwing COVID where there's a bunch of people around as well. Afterward, we're like, well, we're never coming back here for a live shot. And so the only side was to my right side, and there were 2 trash cans there. I thought about pulling one over to kind of block it off to where, like, we're kind of isolated. I never did, and I should have. That's where he shot the gap.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
He assessed our weakness, and I saw him come in the corner of my eye. He had a bright green shirt on. That helped. And then I remember him coming up, and I just shoved, and I was just mad. Like, get out of here! I was mad.
I'm already having a
I was
bad
mad at
shot.
myself.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, gosh, I kind of went overboard there. I hope I don't get in trouble. And then I could hear Haley laughing back at the station. That kind of made the clip, right? It was because they went back to the 2 box, and you saw Haley just busting a gut. And so I wrapped it up, tossed it back to her, and I kind of thought nothing of it till like an hour later, and Haley like texted me. She's like, that was the funniest thing ever. I'm like, was that on camera for that? She's like, oh, hell yeah. So she sent me the clip. And I was with our photographer, and we just started dying laughing. Like, that was funny, actually. It came off better than I thought, and so I was like, all right, I'll tweet that out, and it kind of took off.
It is well shot. Like the I don't know if I could give some sort of cinematography award. I think I spoke to
Tyler Novice, who was our photographer, my photographer there, he was mine.
Your photographer, yes.
Whatever, yes. He is an artist, and you had a front light and a back light, and then of course we had. At the time, I think that ship was lit up behind us
sure
in
was.
the bay.
It's beautiful.
It was a great location, great shot, and I had like half my face covered with a mask, so everything
the Charlie
was great.
Hustle mask, bright red.
Perfect. Yeah, right.
Here's the thing. First of all, the field awareness, absolutely impeccable. As you said, you knew your situation. You know, I'm good here. I'm good here. I'm good here. If something's gonna break bad, it's gonna be to my right. I'm gonna keep an eye. I'm gonna mark this dude in the green T-shirt. I'm just gonna know that there's a space over here. And then look, Rudy, I think the complaint of if you get a stronger base there, you could have pushed him straight into the ocean, right into the bay behind you.
The ocean wasn't that way. I would have had to pull him.
I think you could have had a really explosive kind of hip turn, palm to the chest, kind of up and throw him into the bay. You could have Hadoukened him basically.
Yeah, he's a shorter dude, and I mean,
low center of gravity here actually.
I think he was okay with getting pushed, and he kind of knew he was in trouble a little bit. And so when I shoved, he kind of kept going. And then, but after, like immediately after, two of his buddies, or I'm assigning them as his buddies. They're two jackasses.
His handlers, yeah.
I get done, and I'm just shaking my head, and two other guys run in, and they're like, "Hey, go Bucks!" in front of the camera, and I go, "Live shots over, a-holes." But I didn't censor it. In front of everybody, I look down, there's like a little girl staring at me. It was her ice cream, like I've just let her down. Scarring moment in her life.
You screamed so loud it knocked the ice cream
Yes.
off the top of her cone onto the sidewalk below.
So in like the kind of like the post-show kind of report that we always do, Nick Jacobs, who was producing the show, was like, yes, Mick shoved a guy during his live shot. Thankfully, we clipped his mic before he said, "Live shot's over, a-holes."
It's really powerful. Again, great explosion. If you get, I mean, I know the combine's not going to be the thing that it usually is this year.
Yeah, but there is one. It's virtual.
If you get some sort of invite, you've got the tape here already. There's power in that.
Who do we
power
have
in
to
that
send the
push.
tape to? Because I know occasionally, like not every, like right, like it's a selection process.
We got to get you a
to
huddle
decide.
page for sure.
Yeah,
My son's high school football coaches were tweeting at me.
Yes.
Saying, okay, so that's where Aiden learns. That's how he shucks off blockers.
How he learned that.
That's it. It's better actually.
You could have gone at his arms and then actually brought him down. Then you could have gone and tackled one of his buddies. Like you really could have changed the whole game there. What was how long were you in Tampa? Did you guys stay through the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not like
because you're
you
TV, not radio. Yeah.
Like, hey, we're gonna go up until the biggest game on the planet and then leave.
Yeah.
No, we're actually there for the game.
Yeah.
So
why would you want to be there for the game?
It's weird.
It's
I
not
know,
even the
right?
fun part.
In this instance,
That
funny joke wasn't as funny as of a joke.
It wasn't fun this year.
But yeah, so what was that like? Because I mean, last year was obviously like it's not just a Super Bowl win, but it's the first one in 50 years, and it's this grand celebration for the weeks leading up to it and the weeks after. And this one went poorly, I would say, from sort of a Chiefs perspective.
Good assessment there.
Thank you. I'm in radio.
Hot take.
I wasn't at the game. I was here. But.
It was the opposite of last year, like 180. So 360, and then another 180 on top of that.
Yeah, you're dizzy and facing the wrong direction.
Yes, that was it. So, no, it's horrible. Just as when you're in the market, you like when your team wins. You would prefer that, but then the way they lost, and then the post game coverage really doesn't get cut down that much when you lose. So we were on the air 4 hours afterward talking about that. And I remember last year in Miami, Kevin and I on the field, Kevin Holmes and I, during a break, we turned to each other. We both were like, man, can you imagine us having to do this after a loss? I'm like, yeah, I know. God, the humanity.
We'd never have to do that.
That didn't happen. And then it did a year later in the horrible way, just a not close game and the worst game ever of the Mahomes era. Maybe not the worst he's played, but production-wise, and no touchdowns and single-digit points, and losing that bad to a team that you already handled that year. So bad. It's bad. I mistimed it. So the TV station we were working with is literally right across the street at the Super Bowl, but across the street at the Super Bowl can still be a long way away. For instance, we decided to drive. It took us an hour and a half, to go across. I could stand on the balcony where we were doing live shots and throw a baseball and hit Raymond James Stadium, but to actually get there, driving took an hour and a half. So we're like, I'm going to walk back. And I kind of timed it. It was going to be like 30, 35 minutes of my walk across the street because it takes forever to get out of the press box, especially now in COVID.
Yeah.
That you have one lane of arrows that's going to take you out of the stadium, and of course it doesn't take you out of it takes you on the wrong side of the stadium. You have to go all the way around. I have to go around more barriers, more cones just to get into the neighborhood to walk to the station. So about 30-minute walk. So I'm like, well, and I have to be on the air. It's some, stupid TV rule they made up thousands of years ago that the sports director has to be on air right after the game. I'm like, why? We have 100 people on this show. Maybe you could let me watch the end of the game. So normally, which is the case this year in for Chiefs games and any other Chiefs game before that, really, you miss the last part of the game because you're walking down to the field.
Yeah.
Or in this case, this year, I was driving back to the stadium, so I missed the fourth quarter. And so I'm like, I'm not going to miss the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl.
Right.
It's going to be the most important quarter. I actually said it like that. I should have known I said it like that.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm going to go during halftime. I will miss the weekend,
Yeah.
which people tell me that was fine.
Yep.
And I missed that and not the fourth quarter. And I'm going to watch the second half back at the station. So that's what I did. And then the whole fourth quarter, I'm like, wow, I could have been walking right now. I did not. I could have watched the weekend, had another meal in the press box for free, and then come during this god-awful fourth quarter for the Kansas City Chiefs. So, yeah, that was my night. And then we talked about the loss for a few hours, and that was
Now,
horrible.
what kind of food is Super Bowl serving? Because obviously
COVID press box
it is
food.
COVID press box, but you obviously hey, it's not a knock. I love chicken strips and a
Get a
full
hot dog, yeah.
sausage, but it's the same thing every week. With the
It's more
Chiefs.
than that. It's more than that. So it's the same food, but they box it up for you, obviously,
Okay.
right? It's not a
Yeah.
buffet.
Sure.
We're not
Yeah,
all
that
like
makes
coughing
sense.
all over the
Yeah.
green beans, right?
Yeah.
So
Which you probably shouldn't be doing anyway. Yeah.
right, yes, but especially not now. I think it was like there was a brisket, there was a chicken deal which I got. There's so many different servings. You had your appetizers, you had the salad. It's so many desserts.
You had options, though.
Lots of options. It was
That's
great.
that's
I
nice.
missed that because none of us had been
Yeah,
in a
we didn't
press
get
box.
any of that
Actually,
this year.
I was in the Vegas press box. It was so.
And they just handed you a little dime bag because it was Vegas.
No, Vegas was great. Oh, great. Vegas, because it's their
That's
first
not-
year.
yeah, it's not
They
surprising.
had no- it's so
listen,
weird.
I'm
Vegas
saying, I'm
had-
saying that sounds great.
Yeah, Vegas had no fans, and dime bag. Vegas had no fans, but they allowed people in the press box. Arrowhead had lots of fans, but nobody in the press box, minus those essential newspaper guys. And so that was like my second press box experience of the, which I'm shocked at the. Last year in Miami, I couldn't get in the press box. I was in the overflow out there in the stands.
yeah.
This year during COVID, kind of an upset was in there.
Just
So
less people got sent down, I
yeah,
imagine.
that
but
had
still, huh?
do with it.
Does really bum me out. Did you go back and rewatch the weekend at some point? I was hoping
did.
for an in-person weekend watch, but you went through.
I went back.
You revisited. You looked at the tape. You reviewed the film.
I did. So
Yeah.
last year after the Miami game, I was all excited. I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna watch the entire Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Get the perspective of everybody watching at home and hear what they all had to say, like the announcers and everything, the in-game stats and the graphics and all that stuff, and the commercials.
Yeah.
So the day after I took the day off and I just watched the whole thing. It was
Nice.
awesome. This year I'm like, I don't want to watch that
No.
game whatsoever.
No.
So my kids who are obviously savvier than me with it, they're like, well, Dad, just go to this 15-minute YouTube clip of all the commercials they put together. So I watched those, and then I found the weekend as well and watched that. And so I feel like a halftime show now, unless you're J-Lo, which, Shakira, right?
Yeah.
Last year.
The tongue thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody like that, right? Maybe some Karens
But the
didn't.
kids.
The
Nick,
kids.
the
Do you worry about the
kids.
kids?
Oh,
What
right.
about the
But
kids?
the kids,
I guess.
Nick.
But I feel like halftime shows at the Super Bowl now is like being president.
Yeah.
No, never are you going to get even close to a majority liking. You're going to at least half of the people are going to hate it.
60-40 is a miracle. Like
It's a
that would be a
miracle.
miracle. Yeah.
Yes. And really, if you have 40% liking it, you've probably done your job.
It's probably fine.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. It was fine. It was. I'm not one of those guys that say, you remember Prince at Super Bowl, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Super Bowl. What was it? I have no idea. Whitney Houston. I don't remember what Super Bowl that was. She wasn't even halftime, right? She was the national anthem.
She didn't do a halftime.
Yeah.
No, I think she did a national
I don't
anthem,
remember.
if
I don't
when.
care. It's music. I really don't care enough to have an opinion. I thought there were some good things. Like, I thought it was kind of cool when he's like wandering around. Like, I'm like, that's a live shot, or I think it's a live shot.
it's
I'm
a
wondering
shot.
how are they doing that?
Yeah.
He's
Through
like
the
in this
mirror
little
maze.
funhouse maze.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the camera guy. I'm like, is he just holding it right here? Is it like a body cam? How's
Yeah.
it? And then the guys with jock straps on their faces. I'm like, that's a little weird. I
Yeah.
feel like maybe we're trying too hard there. But then I feel like when he got on the field, that felt more normal. He's on the field.
Some people wearing red got into the end zone, which was nice to see.
It was nice to see.
It did give us a great meme.
And a great
It's a
meme.
really good meme.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It hurts, but the Patrick Mahomes as he drops back, and it's just the weekend, just looking
Yes,
around everywhere.
yeah.
Just like I was like,
That was
this
really good.
hurts, but it's really funny.
Yeah. So that's my take, which is not much of one on
No
the
guests.
weekend.
No guests for the halftime show this year either, which was a big upset. There
Yeah.
was.
They
there
usually
were,
have one,
There were
right?
Daft
Yeah.
Punk rumors. Maybe a Travis Scott mention. You could bet on this, so I might know because of that. no action. Nobody showed up, so it's fun. Whatever. The $3,000 I put on Daft Punk mercifully came right back to me. But if I let you, that's probably a COVID thing. I'm guessing. I didn't want to bring more people in or whatever. If I let you pick for next year's Super Bowl when the Chiefs are playing in the Super Bowl in LA, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I give you main act and like their featuring artist or whatever, who would you lean towards right now? If you alone get to choose, but you do want to appeal to roughly half of the viewing audience.
Pearl Jam, Chili Peppers. That's it, I think.
Interesting.
I think Eddie Vedder's originally from Southern California,
though, right?
I mean,
like,
they're out of Seattle, but
the only thing with the
from
Chili
Southern California.
Peppers is because remember they did it 2 years ago that they guessed. So I don't can they do it again?
Yeah,
they were 2 years.
Yeah,
ago.
they were like
was
2
it,
years
see,
ago.
I don't even know this stuff.
It was Red Hot Chili Peppers and
or was it the whole band?
Oh, that's a good point.
I'm not sure. I feel like Pearl Jam's skewing a little old. I feel like no, you're right. Red Hot Chili Peppers were there along with Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars, that's who it was.
It was headlined by Bruno Mars,
which was I really
was
liked.
that the Atlanta one?
That was I think that might have been
New Jersey, MetLife.
Was that Seattle when they destroyed the Broncos?
Super Bowl 48.
I think it might have been Seattle v. Denver.
Was that one in MetLife?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking. You have the Super Bowl. You just gave me the number.
I know.
You got to have the teams right there.
You would think, but I'm on specifically the page for the halftime show.
So you said Super Bowl 48?
I got it. Rudy
Seattle.
was right. Rudy's always right.
Heck yeah. The only reason why I remember that because
right.
like I was in Kentucky at the time and I just remember watching it. I was pretty sure I watched it in the house. I lived in only 1 year in Kentucky and it was the Seattle.
Humble brag about Kentucky.
Seattle Denver year. Yeah. That was
the line in that
blowout.
game was Denver -2, and they
over.
lost that game 43-8.
That was the safety over the head the first play.
Yeah.
Right?
It was a brutal game.
At least it wasn't that. I mean, what we saw was pretty much that, but at least the team that we were rooting for had Patrick Mahomes on it.
The team that we rooted for was
neck
in the game for like a quarter.
Yeah.
And then really the second quarter, most of it, and then the end of the half happened, and it was done.
Kings of Leon, I like them.
You're going very.
Somebody.
You want to get what clean cut at that just so we can have that?
Nope.
You know who I'm surprised hasn't been a feature? I don't think it would be the
Kings
main
of
act.
Leon?
Not. I feel like close.
What's the song, Mick? What's the song thing?
Use Somebody.
I feel like
I can't hear it in my head. Don't like play
Rudy
it from
probably
your
knows
phone, though. Who should it be, Rudy?
They're like I would call them maybe knockoff Kings of Leon, but they're more
can
mainstream.
I guess who knockoff
yeah,
Kings of Leon is?
The Killers.
The Killers would be great.
I was thinking the Killers. The Killers are not knockoff Kings of Leon.
Brandon Flowers.
No. But
I feel like Kings of Leon are more knockoff Killers.
And
I
so
agree.
like
I was gonna hold the Killers and also Panic!
The
At
group
the
I'm
Disco.
thinking of, I think, is actually
They've
more
gotten very popular.
is more mainstream than Kings of Leon, but I think part of that is like they sold out. People say,
Okay.
Imagine Dragons.
Can't do that. Can't have that.
I don't want it, but I'm
Can't have it.
surprised
It's like
they
my
haven't
kid's
done
favorite
it.
band.
They
Sorry.
did
'Cause they
a
do-
college
they
football
do-
national championship game or something.
I've seen them talk about this where they literally make songs like usually on an album at least one song is with like ESPN in mind of like hey
Oh, really?
ESPN is going to use this song for college football games and so we're going like and like the
Thunder, the lightning, and the
like
thunder.
the, I forget
Yeah.
their main singer. He was basically just like, yeah, like
Doesn't
we're
matter.
sellouts, and I'm fine with it because guess how much money I have, and my wife and my kids, they ain't going hungry. He's just
Yeah.
like, I'm fine with being a sellout.
Sellout. What a dumb term.
Imagine Dragons and Lil Wayne
Everybody's
did a
gold.
halftime
Yeah.
college
How about
football playoff.
Creed? They did that one back in the day,
Oh.
the Dallas Cowboys Stadium.
Creed's getting hot again all of a sudden.
No, they are. They're still together.
There was they actually are like doing they were on their lead singer was on like 3 different podcasts maybe a month ago because I think they might be doing a reunion tour.
Really?
Yeah. He was on with like Kyle Brandt. He did that like 10 questions with Kyle
Oh
Brandt.
yeah, Scott Stapp.
Yes, that's his name.
I like.
He said his kids make fun of him all the time. Like they pretend to sing like him, and then
Oh, they
his
do?
kids' friends do it too.
That's
and, yeah.
hilarious. Zach Brown Band. I like them a little bit.
I will.
That's about as close to country as I'll get.
Mhm.
I will sing exactly 4 words of "With Arms Wide Open" because it's just "With arms wide open." It's just that.
That's the part that
That's
everybody
the
makes
title.
fun of him
Yeah,
about,
I would take just them doing that song at a
Yeah.
halftime show, and then then it's just like Beyonce. For
So like
some
yeah,
reason.
they're not the main act. They're the featured guest.
Yeah.
Like you bring them on for like
Scott
one
Stapp
song.
just comes
yeah,
down
it's
and goes,
just him.
"Arms wide open." Like,
Just
is he
him.
okay? That doesn't sound healthy.
And then he leaves.
I feel like the Killers would be pretty. I feel like they did one of those weird like the Monday Night Football halftime sort of shows that's pre-recorded but still doesn't sound very good that they were doing during Monday Night Football this year. They did the one for the game in Vegas. I don't remember who they were playing. I don't think it was the Chiefs game because I think I was watching it at home. It was weird, but I feel like they could pull it off. I'd be happy with the Killers.
Yeah, they did. They performed for the Raiders game. They performed Mr. Brightside during halftime.
Nice.
It was a weird
great song.
Vibe though. Incredible song.
I love the Killers.
Is this segment still going on, or did we just talk about?
We may have stopped
halftime. We probably should have stopped 5 minutes ago. Let's take a break. I'll ask more. I got fashion questions from Mick Shaffer. We've got sports questions. We've got all sorts of things with Mick Shaffer, 41 Action News, whenever we come back.
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page.
Hey, it's former Jayhawk Greg Gurley. Kansas fans and alumni are in every city and state we play. If your favorite Jayhawk fans are missing home, send them some Joe's KC Barbecue. Nothing beats home court and championship barbecue on game day. Joe's will ship anywhere in the U.S. It's easy to reheat, and it tastes just as good at home as it does at Joe's. You can ship all of Joe's favorites, like ribs, brisket, burn ends, and even the famous Z-Man. Ordering is easy, and it's just a few clicks away at joeskc.com.
February marks the final month of the Mercedes-Benz Certified Pre-Owned event at Aristocrat Motors. It's your opportunity to select your certified pre-owned Mercedes from our large selection and enjoy unlimited confidence with the unlimited mileage warranty combined with 2 payments on most models when financed with Mercedes-Benz Financial. Pick out yours today at Aristocrat Motors, I-35 and Shawnee Mission Parkway, or online at aristocratmotors.com. Offer ends February 28, 2021. MBFS offered with approved credit.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Do you follow Sports Radio 810 on social media? This is your reminder to give us a follow and hit that subscribe button on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at Sports Radio 810. Follow along for breaking news as it happens, live coverage of press conferences, analysis and reporting from top local and national experts, fan videos, and on-the-ground coverage of your favorite local teams, as well as the best sporting events and athletes in the country. Turn on your notifications so that you never miss a beat, and follow the leader at Sports Radio 810.
Hi, I'm Fred Ramsey. And I'm Mark Tobin. Hey, folks, if you're not busy Saturday mornings from 6 to 7 a.m., well, I hope you'll join us for the Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet, St. Joe.
Join us and our expert guests, and we'll be talking about hunting and fishing, dog training. We'll give you tips, pass along stories, and most important, share some laughs along the way.
That's right. We cover it all, from crappie to waterfowl, and we'll tell you how to cook it, too.
Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet, Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
You're right. I'll get one too tomorrow.
All right, you want to come with me?
Yeah, can we do a double?
Oh, yeah. Do you want the pine cone, or do you want to do something your
I'll
own?
think he can, while he's doing you right-handed, he can do me left-handed. That sounded horrible. Oh!
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Mick Shaffer, 41 Action News, still with us here, closing out a weird week. I feel because there's been this weird sort of transitional period, Mick, where we had football season, and then we had Super Bowl. The Super Bowl happened, and then we had the post-Super Bowl kind of like come down, breakdown on the other sense for everybody. And then now it's like little off-season look-ahead talk, P's and C's. We're in pitchers and catchers territory, but I'm not sure I'm all the way for Royals season. But the Andrew Benintendi trade was some Royals news. How's the sports desk been feeling the last week or so?
I like it kind of because obviously one of the Chiefs to win, but I'm ready when football season's done. I'm ready for other stuff. I feel like we need an offseason. Like Corey Anderson, I think wants football like 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
I feel like there needs to be a break in everything. You can get too much of everything.
For sure.
And so for the longest time, you guys, I would wait until the end of football season to really get into college basketball.
Yeah.
Well, for the longest time in this town, that was like December, early
100%,
December.
yeah.
Because
100%.
college football was over and pretty much the Chiefs season was over.
Yep.
And so I got a handle on like the local teams and the local conferences and nationally much earlier than like February 15th, which is what it is now.
Yep.
I'm trying to play catch up on like, okay, who are the better teams, better players? And it's not KU or
No,
Mizzou, as it turns out.
Yeah.
K-State, but
It's definitely not K-State.
But I've enjoyed getting back to other sports,
Not
and
Kentucky.
then the P&Cs. I'm gonna steal that one right there.
That's all yours. I think I stole from somebody. We're all just stealing from each other.
And so yes, to break off and do other things. I'm excited about the Royals. Yeah.
But they're also still. It's like 7 weeks to opening day. We had Lesky on last night, and
month and a half.
That still feels like kind of a while because I was like, spring training, we're pretty much there. We're not quite. They're still a minute away. But the college basketball thing is exactly where I've ended up. We've had a couple of KU guests last week and change, and for both of them, my question was like, all right, what did we miss? Because you guys covered them specifically. I have been loosely aware of the fact that they're not that good, and I've watched some of them, and now it's like, oh God, the season's almost over.
Right.
KU's got 3 games left.
Yep.
Baylor has, I don't know how many games left because I paid enough attention to know that Baylor
should be about 15, might be 0.
I was going to say probably 0 because they're
how crazy. KU has the most wins in the Big 12.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't
More
make
than
any
Baylor.
sense. It's unbelievable.
Who's 9-0 and they're 10-6.
Should they be the champion?
They've talked about that.
Cook us up a take, Mick. Cook us up a take on the Big 12 champion.
I would be absolutely fine if Baylor's crowned Big 12 champion because they have been dominant when they've been on the floor.
It's a really tough argument to pick up that, like, actually KU's better.
Yeah.
Because we watched those two teams play each other.
And I'm not convinced KU's better than Oklahoma, better than Texas, better than Texas Tech. We'll find out this weekend there. So I think I don't know if they're getting right, KU, or if they've just played Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State at home their last 4 games. I feel like that has a lot to do with it as well.
Is anything on planet Earth more predictable than over the course of this year, you get KU is a tire fire, Mizzou is a rocket ship, and then they are going to end the season with KU severely outranking Missouri? It, to me, feels like the most, if you would have given me just sort of that odds to bet on that right at the beginning of the year, or whenever Mizzou jumped KU, I would have put all of my GameStop stock leftovers on that prop.
That's on Mizzou this year, though, man.
Yeah.
They have given games away. They're a better team than KU. Just talent, they've got depth, they've got experience, they got playmakers, they got a point guard, they got a big man, which is crazy to say. Tillman's actually turned into one of the best big men in the SEC,
and not having him for a couple of these crummy losses is only kind of fair.
He'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, that's going to be needed. But you know what? They had these same second half issues with him in a lot of games. And so that's on Mizzou. This was their opportunity to KU, even if they win 2 of their next 3, win a couple in the Big 12 tournament, you're still looking at a team that's probably a 4 seed, I'm guessing, maybe at best.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like Mizzou has the firepower this year in what is a wild year in college basketball when none of the Blue Bloods are any good. And this was their year to be a top 4, top 3 seed in the tournament. And they're certainly at this point not trending that way anymore.
Do you feel any sort of confidence about KU? Not even like in them being actually good, but in literally anything? Is there something where you say, I believe that I know this thing about Kansas basketball?
That's a good question.
Because there might not be anything.
Well, I mean, negatives. I feel like if there's a game in the 80s, they're not going to win it.
Yeah.
I feel
unless it's against Iowa State, which they probably will not have happen. I
feel, although I don't know if I could, say this absolute, but I could see this being a very annoying postseason for teams and fans that hate KU. In that, like, maybe KU is figuring things out, and they win to the next 3. They win the Big 12 tournament. They slide in as a 5 seed or something like that, and they get to the Elite 8, to where it's like you didn't expect it. But I mean, I'm not gonna. We asked the question on Sound Off a couple weeks ago, like, okay, who do you trust more to go further in the tournament? And this was when Mizzou was rolling. Mizzou or KU? This is when KU was diving, Mizzou was rolling. And my answer to that, and pretty much everybody's, was like, I think Missouri's the better team, but I have a lot more trust in KU and Bill Self, the team that's been there over and over again, to figure out a way to get some wins in the Big 12 tournament. So I could, and in the NCAA tournament. So I could absolutely see KU make a run, because they do a lot.
Also, just the rest of the teams in the nation in general. I mean,
it's a lot of
Gonzaga, it's Baylor, and then I do think people, and part of this because they didn't play for a month, I think Michigan's also really, really good. They just didn't play for a long time. But, like, there's a lot of KUs out there.
My son and I were talking about it. We were like, he's like, man, all the Blue Bloods are down this year. I'm like, I know. Like KU, Kentucky, North Carolina, Duke, Michigan State. He goes, Michigan State? They're Blue Blood? I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, they play that Champions Classic every year. They've won a couple of national titles. He goes,
modern Blue Blood.
He goes, they're green, though. I'm like, oh, you think Blue Blood is literal? He's like, what is it? I'm like, no, it's just a term for a great school or something. Then I start thinking, I'm like, pretty much all the Blue Bloods are blue.
You didn't mention UCLA, which is a historic blue blood, majority blue.
Should have.
It is possible that it could be that that's why they came up with the phrase.
Earlier in that conversation, he goes, does Villanova count as blue blood? I'm like, that's a good question, but I think they're kind of a new blue blood. He was talking about the color.
Yeah.
Wow. He was talking about their colors.
Villanova's a new blue blood. Michigan State's like they're not new, but they're more modern because since Izzo.
Yeah,
UCLA's fallen off.
Honestly, I think.
And
Michigan
same with Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana, and they're not a blue team. They're one of the blue bloods.
They are.
But they're
But I mean, like,
now.
okay, KU is. I think everybody would count as one, but it's only 3 national titles, right? Compared with the national titles of Duke, North Carolina, and Kentucky, which are far more.
I mean, that's why
and
Villanova
UCLA.
moved themselves up there now. They're winning titles now.
3 total or 4?
I think it's 3 now. Yeah, I think because they've tied KU.
Well,
now.
they had the one in '85, and they have 2.
Yeah, they have 2 in the
since.
last 5 or 6 years.
Yep. Do you know the origins of the term blue blood?
Let's hear it. It's my 14-year-old.
I don't
right?
know if we want to know it, honestly.
My 14-year-old.
It is
correct?
a term that does feel like it could have like an origin story where you're like, oh.
Yeah, it's like,
sure does.
We don't like it these days.
Sure it does.
That feels right.
It sure does. We have gone down the rabbit hole of playing origins of the idiom on this show a number of times.
It's a purity thing, kind of.
It's not what you'd like to see, probably. So this is from phrases.org.uk, which seems
legit.
Yeah. Blue blood is a literal translation of the Spanish sangre azul. This was the designation attributed to some of the oldest and proudest families of Castile who claim to have never intermarried with Moors, Jews, or other races.
Right, it's going to be something racist.
Yeah.
The expression probably originated in the blueness of the veins of people of fair complexion as compared with those of dark skin. That was certainly the understanding in the 19th century, and there seems little reason to doubt it. In 1834, the Anglo-Irish children's writer Maria Edgeworth published a novel entitled Helen, which reiterates that opinion. Someone from Spain of high rank and birth of the sangre azul, the blue blood.
Here we go.
I thought there was a chance there might be maybe a kind of a Game of Thrones Lannister theme behind that.
It's just racism.
Just a racism.
It's just racism.
Yeah.
It's just your veins look blue if you have lighter skin.
You're also sneaky athletic.
Wow. It's almost always bad when you find the origins of pretty much any idiom.
Yes.
You want to give me another one, Mick? What's an idiom that you can
or as the real fast as the Spanish say, fortiva atletica.
What does that mean?
Sneaky Spanish. Or
sneaky athletic.
Sneaky Spanish.
Stupid.
Sneaky athletic.
That's stupid.
Fortiva
I hate that.
atletica. Or Furtivo, Atletico, for the masculine.
The phrases.org.uk has a phrase finder.
There's a lot of them.
Anything off the top of your head is off the
Don't
top
look
of your
up
head, I think.
caught red-handed. Don't look that one
Yeah,
up.
that doesn't sound good.
What about getting gypped, too?
No, that one. No, I don't
Gypsies.
know. Yeah, I knew that. No, I mean, I am going to Google. It's like whenever someone says, don't go to Urban Dictionary and look up the phrase pine tree computer, which are two things I can see right now. And it's like, oh, it's whatever you bleep the bleep and the bleepity bloop. Like, well, I can't read that on the radio.
Can't unknow that.
Is this not about blood, basically, Mick, is sort of my question? Is being caught red-handed not just being caught with blood on your hands?
No, it's a Native American slur.
Is it really?
I believe so.
Washington still needs a new name. It feels like they got too much good press for moving away from one racial slur, and maybe they could go to another. The Washington Red Hands. Oh, man. That's just not great.
Dark hole, Josh.
It's just pretty much all of these are gonna all go back.
Any
to
phrase
racism.
that is from, the 1800s or earlier, it's usually not good.
Almost anything from the 1800s or earlier is not very good.
Electricity, that was all right.
There's probably some reason that
Benjamin
electricity
Franklin,
is also great.
president
a great
in U.S.
president.
history.
Yeah. Who's your top 5 presidents based on name alone?
Just their name?
Just their name alone. We did this on Monday. We did
That's
our power
great.
rankings of our top 5.
Some reminders. I think it's a great question.
I'm gonna see if I can find my notepad. Rudy, you can start.
Well, so I had Willie Franklin, Will Franklin, Billy Franklin.
So you're okay. The slang terms.
Well, so Rudy has some,
William Franklin.
Rudy's 2 favorite presidents are Alexander Hamilton and Benjamin Franklin, and so that's caused that's caused some confusion. I'll tell you what I had. Number 5 for me is William Henry Harrison. Just strong, 3 names, pop, pop, pop. It's powerful. Number 4, James A. Garfield. Makes me think of the funny orange cat who loves lasagna and hates Mondays. I love it. Number 3, and the most modern of the presidents, because anyone after this makes me nervous, George H.W. Bush. You get 2 initials in the middle. It's pretty good.
It's strong.
Number 2, Millard Fillmore. I don't know why. I've just always liked the name Millard Fillmore.
Simpsons character or something
It
like
really,
that.
yeah, it really does. And my number 1 was Franklin D. Roosevelt, basically because of the power of FDR. That's of all. You got LBJ, you got JFK. Those are fine. Nothing is FDR in terms of best presidential initials.
I did always like Ronald Reagan because it's the double R, the alliteration.
Right.
You get that RR.
Yeah, alliteration's excellent.
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan's a strong one. I'm gonna go with
And Ronald's just like you don't see a lot of Ronalds out there, but Ronald
I think
it's a
of
little
the
strong.
Scary fast food clown though.
Ulysses S. Grant.
Strong.
Ulysses.
Yeah.
I mean,
Powerful.
how often do you see that?
Do you know that his name wasn't actually Ulysses S. Grant? I learned this on President's Day. His first name started with an H. Can't remember what it was. He
it
didn't
was a
like the
weird name.
idea of having the initials spell the word hug, and so he had his name screwed up on some military form where it added an S. He just went with it.
That's funny.
It's a powerful name, though.
Powerful name. I'm gonna go with Abraham Lincoln. That's an obvious one. I think a lot of people will pick that, but my son's name is Abram, so I feel like I've got to
there you
go. With
Not
that.
Abraham, Abram.
Abram.
So an apostrophe in the middle?
No,
Okay.
there's Abram. There was a guy on Road Rules named that. I'm like, oh, name a kid that. True story.
I could name my kid after this president or this guy on Road Rules.
Yep.
You went Road Rules.
I
That's
did
exciting.
go Road Rules. I'm gonna pick. Trying to find another one that's. Like again, Woodrow Wilson, strong alliteration.
Alliteration's
Woody
so good.
Wilson.
What's his middle name?
It was Hiram Ulysses Grant.
Hug. He didn't like
Hug.
it, apparently. So good. Do you think Woodrow Wilson had a middle name that started with a W?
Ooh, that'd be good if he did.
I can't Google things very easily because of my computer's internet issues here.
Yeah, I'm having some
And when you
issues
did
too,
Google, you
yeah.
put www in there.
My hope was that I might. His name is Thomas Woodrow Wilson.
Oh, so Woodrow was the middle name.
All right, he's off the list.
Teddy Roosevelt's kind of cool.
Teddy's really good. It's and even Theodore is also very strong. He's got the actual name nickname double whammy. You love to see it.
Mine. 2 of mine are gonna be Grover Cleveland and Grover Cleveland.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Sure. Who was president between Cleveland's? Do you know off the top of your head?
Benjamin Harrison.
You just knew that. not on your phone right now.
No,
at all?
it's on my phone right now.
Cincinnati.
Did you say maybe Cincinnati?
I did.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Let's take a break. Whenever we come back, I gotta ask Mick about his shoes.
At JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already.
This Saturday on the NBA on ESPN Radio.
Floats it to the rim. Autopilot skies, grabs, and flushes.
The Miami Heat head into their 6th game of a 7-game West Coast road trip when they face LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers.
James spins down the lane, lays it up and in.
The place is here, the time is now. Top of the world and I can't come down.
Tune in to hear the Lakers and Heat Saturday at 7 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
When do you think about your insurance? Chances are it's when you're paying your bill or filing a claim. At Briar Payne Mead, we always think about your insurance. It's what we do. Buying a car, having a baby, building a home, starting a business. Then it's time to call BPM at 913-681-099 or visit us on the web at bpminsurance.com. Great service and extremely competitive rates from the top-rated companies. Briar Payne Mead, 913-681-099. That's 913-681-099.
Small business owners don't have the patience for nonsense, especially when it comes to their internet provider. They want the best services for the best price. Simply put, that's Spectrum Business. They give you great value, zero nonsense. Just call 833-919-2121. You'll get fast, reliable internet and phone with no contracts and no hidden fees, all for a price that could cut your bill in half. Spectrum Business. Call today, 833-919-2121.
Hey, it's Lebo here for CertaPro Painters. Now is a great time to update your home. Whether it's a new look inside or some exterior protection for this harsh KC climate, there's no better place to go than CertaPro. You can give them a call at 1-800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com to schedule your free estimate. Now, they have knocked it out of the park every time I've used them. Inside my home or outside where my paint job still looks great. Their attention to detail is outstanding, from the estimate through the prep work, the job itself, and especially on cleanup. Worry-free all the way. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so they're local business owners right here in our community. They do it all. Premier quality products with competitive pricing, plus a great warranty. So what are you waiting for? Give them a call right now at 1-800-GO-CERTA. That's 1-800-GO-CERTA. Experience the CertaPro Painters difference for yourself. They don't consider the job finished until you're completely satisfied. It's CertaPro Painters, proven and trusted experts in painting.
A KC tradition since 1957, Hereford House is a locally owned steakhouse that has served generations of Kansas Cityans. Hereford House exclusively serves certified Hereford beef, which has been proven to be naturally more tender and flavorful than other brands. All their steaks are aged 21 days, hand-cut daily, and grilled over an open charcoal flame. This process provides a wonderful aroma and delicious flavor that cannot be duplicated by any other cooking method. Hereford House, Leawood, Independence, Shawnee, and Zona Rosa.
Hey sports fans, Joni here, and I'm excited to tell you about the newly opened In the Zone Cryo. In the Zone Cryo will help decrease pain and inflammation, accelerate muscle recovery, increase your energy, and boost your immune system. In the Zone Cryo also offers Instasculpt fat reduction, personal training, infrared heat, compression therapy, and more. Mention Sports Radio 810 and receive 10% off your first service. Come see us at College and Metcalf. Call 913-208-4859 or visit inthezonecryo.com. Feel, look, and perform your best with In the Zone Cryo.
The Kansas City Comets are back in action this weekend for a 2-game series against the Dallas Sidekicks at Cable Dahmer Arena with playoff positioning on the line. Comets Arena Soccer is fast, furious, high-scoring action for the entire family. And all seats are socially distanced for fan safety this season. Get your tickets today for the Kansas City Comets weekend series against the Dallas Sidekicks, coming this Friday night at 7 p.m. and Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. by calling 888-9-COMETS or by visiting Ticketmaster.com.
Hey sports fans, the new 810 Fan Shop has all the gear you need to rep your favorite teams. Check out our new collegiate line and get ready for spring baseball and St. Patty's Day now at 810whb.com/shop. You can choose from a variety of t-shirt designs and styles, premium hoodies or crew necks, and even snag something for your little KC sports fan with our new youth sizes. Looking for a baby shower gift for the MVP on your list? Check out our infant t-shirts and onesies. It's all at the 810 Fan Shop. Check it out today online at 810whb.com/shop.
The home of the Jayhawks. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Brown, will he get it off? Yes. Will he hit it? Yeah! Wow! David tips it to himself, muscles it right back up and in.
The official radio home for Kansas Athletics in Kansas City. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Ochai for the tie. Yes! Ochai Agbaji from straight on.
Saturday, the Jayhawks face Texas Tech. Tip-off at 1 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
I'm an easy to peg what I'm doing, and it's golf. My cover is exactly like the book.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Last segment of the hour, last hour of the week with Mick Shaffer, 41 Action News. During the break, we were talking about presidential assassinations because we were talking about presidents last segment. Rudy and I both only knew half of the presidents who had been assassinated. We had Lincoln and JFK, and I've already forgotten. There was James A. Garfield.
And William McKinley.
William McKinley.
Yep. In 35 years, 36 years,
Roosevelt was attempted.
we lost 3 presidents in assassinations.
I have some important news that I've done some original research that I'm really excited to share with you both right now. James A. Garfield was assassinated on September 19th, 1881. I have Googled what day of the week was September 19th, 1881.
No.
Garfield was killed on a Monday.
No.
He hates a Monday.
He hates Mondays!
Do you think that's part of the
I have no
origin
idea.
of
Is there any chance that Jim Davis
I mean, I honestly,
knows
I would
that
say
James
yes.
Garfield died on a Monday?
But I feel
would
like
say there's a chance.
But I feel like everybody hates Mondays, whether McKinley was killed on a Monday or a Friday.
Garfield, though.
Garfield.
Though.
So I mean, basically, it's a 1 in 7 shot.
Yeah.
I feel
literally.
like maybe they just got lucky.
I think there's a great chance of that, but I feel like I just won a 1 in 7 bet by doing the cursory Googling to find out that on a Monday, James A. Garfield perished, which I wasn't rooting for until just now, and now I apparently was. Was also not a leap year, according to onthisday.com, which I've now quadruple checked to make sure this is factually accurate. And it sure appears to be. This is fabulous. I have a question about the shoes you were wearing in Tampa, Mick.
Yep.
I need you to explain. They look very much like you forgot to take your business shoes with you to Tampa, and so you are wearing the shoes that you just wore on the plane.
75 degrees in Florida. We're on the water. There's no such thing as business shoes.
They looked almost slipperish in a way that I was not. The slippers with the slacks is a unique, powerful look that I was not familiar with.
They're called dudes. They sell them at Shields. They're pretty awesome, so comfortable, stylish, conversation starters. They are the official shoe of Johnson County dads.
I am no longer in Johnson County, and I am not a dad. Can I get these shoes?
Absolutely,
if they are this
$59 at Shields, baby. Great price. All different designs now. When you first got them, it was just kind of gray colors. Now, all sorts of colors. They have fun with some ornate designs on the heels. It's a trip. I recommend them.
I'm looking at the website right now because, as previously discussed just amongst the three of us before the hour kicked off, Rudy and I don't go into stores. We order things and have them show up at our doorstep.
I feel like, and that's not even like a COVID thing, right? That's always...
No, I was
it's
doing
been
this.
exacerbated by COVID.
I was doing
Can I say exacerbate on the radio?
What did you do during COVID?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's been a lot of exacerbation.
I was doing this for years before.
Rudy's
COVID.
over here twisting the knobs and exacerbating the situation. It's really unfortunate.
I have 10 years experience of
Not doing crap.
exacerbating and buying stuff online.
I'm a doer.
Jeff Bezos didn't get this rich by all of us deciding we still like to go to stores.
Exactly.
Ooh, there are some that are just like kind of just, a bold color, like a nice Pomplian red. Maybe I get a fur green. What are they? Look sort of like, again, they look very much like slippers, maybe moccasins. We also have like 15 seconds left.
They're very comfortable. They're like Uggs, very comfy, and they're stylish, kind of like boat shoes.
Are boat shoes stylish?
Bye, Michelle.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 18.